question.
Hang on, Alex. Hang on. Raise your hand if you want to jump in, please. Thank you. Um, so yeah, I might have been roboting there. Yeah, thanks, Curtis. Thank you for saying that. I think that would help clear up a whole bunch um, of people, not knowing that, because I think a lot of people might have thought that this is something that, like, you're doing. Like, I'm not saying you doing it. I'm saying people might have thought that you're doing it just on your own without having consulted with people and this, that, and the other thing. So
I didn't ask, but I did consult other people. So I consulted the people that I trust and trust their judgment. They have relationships on multiple fronts: congressional, judicial, within company leadership, right? So I think it's been distributed to a wide range of those parties that have more power and authority than any of us as individual shareholders. And yeah, I think it will be leveraged appropriately. I meant it when I said I'm not going to sit on it either. And that, look, whatever leverage could be achieved by, I fully am of the belief that these 10 individuals, by the way, know who they are, and they know the firms, and their firms are aware of what I'm vaguely referencing, right? So we're talking a week since I've even alluded to this. So a week is more than ample time to get some traction and get leverage. Would it potentially change if we continue to hold? Sure, maybe, but whatever additional leverage would be applied privately, that has to either work now or the names will be released, because I'm also receiving probably intimidation is the right word. I won't call it threats, but I'm receiving intimidation from certain parties to release the data, not asking for the data, but just intimidating to get the data. And definitely don't appreciate that. But I certainly don't go and ask for anybody else's work and claim it as my own and try to intimidate people to turn over data. That's not how I've ever worked. But anyway, I'm exploring the strategy that I think is most effective, and part of that is, I said blatantly, two of the members are FINRA representatives, and I'll be releasing those here in just a few minutes. As soon as I'm done, I gotta wrap up work that I fell behind on today. So as soon as I wrap up that, good to go. We'll make it a fun game for FINRA, just so they know that we're not messing around, and they know the names, and I don't even have to spell it all the way out there. Anybody like Wheel of Fortune? We'll play a little Wheel of Fortune game and see if you can guess who the members are.
can I
A
buy a
couple
vowel?
videos. Yeah, absolutely.
An O?
Yep, we'll put it out there so everyone can see it. But I think what's more important is when you stick it out there, and you put this data out there, and you put the names out there, the individuals, the firms that they represent. If you don't understand the context of the process, then it's not as effective. So people just making angry phone calls, people making angry assertions, it doesn't resonate the same way. So what's, in my opinion, the best path is similar to everything else that at least I've participated in the past, with whether it's a singular effort or whether it's a group effort, to explain thoroughly, right? Because this needs to be not just, I could just post a picture of the 10 names, right? That doesn't really provide any context or value. But when you understand their roles, their resume, what organizations they represent, the fact that all have conflicts of interest with MMTLP, the fact that two of them very well from FINRA's representation. When I say conflicts of interest, so we're talking about multiple layers of conflicts of interest of authority from within FINRA. So and awareness that exists across the board. And what honestly pissed me off so bad this morning is, and we should expect it. There's going to be an attempt to slither out of this one way or another, even with the names involved. And there was a clear-cut indication of exactly that behavior. And so what I anticipate will be the changing narrative of the story, and I don't think they can get away with it, but we'll see, is they're going to act like everything was handled appropriately with the corporate actions. And we know, and it's been thoroughly documented, and even through FINRA's own admission in their FAQs and in the follow-up responses from their chief legal officer, Robert Colby, that they did not handle the processing of the corporate actions correctly. And if they were handled correctly, we would have never had a settlement or clearance issue to begin with. FINRA would have never modified the language to begin with. We would have been operating with the same dates that were included within the last S1 before it was declared effective. But anyway, there's a lot that they're going to try and I also imagine that they're going to roll over on other individuals, and someone will be. It probably won't be a singular fall guy. It'll probably be fall guys. And this list of 10, there's opportunity for these individuals to come forward, and there's at least one that is no longer employed by their organization, and they're pretty they're in a disagreement with their organization. So I'll let you read between the lines there. So
Curtis, you're doing wonders for my numbers, man. I mean, I haven't had this many listeners in ages. I think you got to jump on my spaces more often. No, but jokes aside, you've always, whether people like you, don't like you, know you, don't know you, you've always been even keel. And as far as I know, you haven't been quick to rush to, do anything without having considered it, all the possibilities and all that. So, I don't see why you would do any differently now. So, I think if you're saying something, or if you're, I want to say threatening, but if you're saying that you're gonna, do this, or you're gonna release a name, and I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but releasing a name is not necessarily releasing the data that's associated with that name.
I think releasing the name without appropriate context would be irresponsible. So I'll be explaining the process. I'll be explaining the people, their role, responsibility, what should have happened, and we all know what did happen. So it's going to take a bit to put all that out there, but I'll give two names. It'll take you all of 10 seconds to figure out who they are. It's a really easy puzzle.
Right on. We have Torchlight with his hand up. Before we go to that, Ben, are you here? Ben? Ben.
Check your DM.
Yeah, I'm here.
Curtis.
So I'm sorry, Dr. Ben, can you take over for 2 minutes? I got to jump on a phone call real quick.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Ben. Go ahead, guys.
Curtis, check your DM. Go ahead, Torch.
Curtis, I can't thank you enough, brother. I think you should just I appreciate all you've done, and I'm totally with you. I think it's fucking time. If you have this evidence that I believe, I trust that you do, and I trust that, like I said in that post that I posted last week, that your interest lines with my interest. Fuck them all. If we have this evidence, we just fucking blast it. This is what this community does. And I think we're a bunch of fucking savages that are just fucking. The patience is running thin. We're fucking hurt. We've been through a lot. And I trust your judgment. I'm ready to fucking start running towards the fire. And if you have this and they didn't want to fucking deal with it, I'm ready. I'm behind you 110%, brother. So fuck them all.
I love it. It's not too late in all of this. The names precede the conflicts of interest that exist within Congress. So just to be crystal clear, when I'm talking about the names, I'm talking about the names of the members, the member firms, and the FINRA representatives that are responsible. And there's still ample opportunity for anyone that is 1 foot in, 1 foot out to go all in with us. So that's, let me share this. This message has been shared. Uh-oh, we're about to be cut off. Host is having connection issues. Well, this has been shared from multiple offices. It's not just something that I say to say. You have to make it uncomfortable for Congress. You have to make it uncomfortable for them. That's how you get them to act. That didn't come from a constituent. It came from a member of Congress. This is not a random strategy. So, anyway.
Jack. Oh, there we go. I will say, Curtis, if this stuff is as good as you say it is, I know we have a pissed off community that's going to blast this fucking shit. And I think they're going to be proud to do it. So I think we've given them long enough. We're almost 19 months in. We're 18 and a half months in. I think it's unfucking believable that we're still fucking sitting here and we have this. And I know there's a bunch of fucking pissed off community members. And I know you're very well written, very well spoken. You give me whatever the fuck you need, and I'll blast that motherfucker. You give me whatever you need. I have 9, 10 of my family friends. We'll stop making fucking calls tomorrow, and we'll stop blasting this all over. And I know we got a lot of fucking pissed off motherfuckers in this community that if we have concrete evidence that I do believe that you say you have, that is going to fucking expose this shit more, it's fucking time. Fuck them. Because they don't give a fuck about us, and that's proven. Now is the motherfucking time, because it is almost 19 fucking months in. And a lot of us don't have a lot of fucking time left.
I know I was having connection issues. I really wasn't having connection issues, but I'm back. I was just transferring the space from my phone to my computer so I can jump on that call and then back. So that's what that was.
Let me say something really quick, Jack, because I want everybody to know the concern that I have in all of this, and it'll make more sense here shortly. But when the trade station issue that's playing out, my greatest fear is that what all the circumstances, right? All of the circumstances, and they will become clear shortly. But I think all the circumstances point to the possibility that TradeStation has been more or less assigned, for lack of a better term, they have been more or less assigned to take the fall, not as a singular party, but as likely a party that has the lowest liability overage percentage, which is funny because I think everyone knows where the projections are for how far they are over from a liability versus allocation percentage standpoint, right? And they raised their hand, and their chief compliance officer has been running point behind the scenes on back office meetings regarding NextBridge hydrocarbons almost for a year now. We know since August 14th of 2023 for a year. And since November, we've known the communications where they've acknowledged that they can't transfer because of their allotment being fulfilled. So my concern, my fear in this is when you look at TradeStation and you look at what their allotment was and where it projects to be, and you compare that to some of the largest broker dealers, largest liability holders, and the counterparty relationships that they maintain versus TradeStation, which is, you know, an isolated, truly isolated, self-clearing organization. We're talking about limiting liabilities, and that's my concern, is that TradeStation is here to set a low ceiling for settlement. That's my number one concern, which to some people is maybe not a concern. Maybe you're happy with a low settlement, and it's not low. It's all, you know, it's all subjective, right? Everybody's got a number in their head that you feel is fair. I don't know how, by the way, you could possibly have a number in your head and constitute it as fair or unfair when the most important variable is missing at the end of the day, which is the totality of the share count that exists across all broker dealers. And we've been continually led astray to not get the share count, and it is the most important variable. So that's my concern. I don't want that to happen. I don't want it to play out. And so, you know, that's part of the motivation. That's part of how this data was stumbled upon, is looking for potential conflicts of interest there with TradeStation. So anyway, it'll all make a lot more sense here shortly. I hate being like, you know, just intentionally vague. It would be honestly irresponsible to say things and not have backed up context. So I will put together the threads with the information. More importantly, the information is in the hands and has been put to work for the past week, right? And it has bore fruit. So it has been successful. I don't know if holding out another week, another 2 weeks, I don't know. I don't know what would happen. So for me, I would rather take the target off my head personally, since I put it out there, and I would rather let the community digest this. And we do a really good job when individuals come forward, when individual names come forward. Doesn't matter if it's been Yvonne Huber, doesn't matter if it's been Cromwell Colson. We do a really good job of kind of dragging these individuals into the light. You know their names. You know some of these individuals' names. So they're not going to be foreign to you. You've seen videos of some of these people. So anyway, I think max leverage being private, you know, there's an expiration date on that, and I would rather air this out as quickly as possible. And if it helps, you know, pin TradeStation that much further, if it helps flip the script on other broker dealers coming forward and exposing that they also have an overage, right, and admitting and getting the ball moving, truly moving with true momentum towards a resolution, then obviously the work here is done. But there's no guarantee of anything. What it is a guarantee of, and it is irrefutable, and you put my entire reputation, I put my life on the line for it, is these 10 individuals were 100% involved. So that is irrefutable. Nobody called in sick to work that day. So you know, I'll say this, that there's more data that I'm not even ever going to allude to. So it is all a leverage game. But the trusted offices within Congress and also some other political allies have this data, and I think it would be mighty interesting if you know, kind of force some of the conflicted politicians who may be serving multiple masters here, right? The constituents that are angry and that have been defrauded, but also, the other parties that they may or may not serve. We present an interesting fork in the road with this data, because to not follow up on these individuals would be completely irresponsible, and to not acknowledge the conflicts of interest that exist within these individuals and the firms that they represent would also be irresponsible. So this data alone by itself and what these people are responsible for is enough to warrant at minimum a hearing, and what went into weighing this decision with these members. But with all the other evidence that we have, including the FOIA, including the FAQ responses, the communication to and from Greg McCabe and FINRA, all of that evidence coming together, the communication that we've aggregated as a community with broker communication, all of that comes together to paint a really, really clear picture that becomes very easy to tell the story without, and it has different weight when you're not telling a story. And John's told this story since day one. Broker dealers, the week of the halt, they clearly knew what was happening. Hedge funds clearly knew what was happening, and they were shorting into a known spin out date, which is completely counterintuitive. So the only way that you do that, and you're really leaning in, especially going into the last 2 days, is if you've already been tipped off of exactly what's going to be executed. That's a great story, right? It's a great narrative. It's really difficult without proof of that occurring. Well, proof of that occurring is irrefutable. And I'll explain it in explicit detail. If you paid attention in the last week, I tried to get somebody else to come out and explain it in explicit detail that may or may not be an ally of the organization that has been a thorn in our side this entire time. But and this is publicly available. This is not my data. I'm not even the one who discovered it. There's a investor who's been here for a long time, and has been doing amazing work in the background within his state. It came forward and, like so many things, said, "Hey, have you seen this?" Like, just thought, "Hey, this might be something." And yeah, it was. It was. And it actually wasn't the final data. And it all makes sense more here in a couple days, but it was enough. And then it basically led, to the cockroach nest. So anyway, we're in a really good place. I'm sorry if talking about this and even alluding that we have data makes people antsy, or if you think that I'm suggesting that we do something rash. I'm absolutely not. We should. On the call this morning, my ask is for everyone to, instead of talking about the things that were talked about for other individuals, for everybody to just put in a phone call so we could share the sentiment from the representatives that we've all built relationships with over the last 18 months. And that's the most effective thing that we can do. And that's the first sign of what happened in the last 24, 48 hours that made me personally scratch my head with, why are they clamming up right now? Obviously, it's due to the data that's being shared, but then communications come out, and then you can see where there might be some definitive conflicts of interest. So all of that is so important, and because all of that comes from communication from this community with your relative representatives. So that's why it's so important to continue the outreach, to continue to put in the work. That feedback is going to be really important to know which offices are going to be in our court and which ones are going to be, trying to steer the narrative elsewhere. But I'm not asking for torches and pitchforks on the steps of Capitol Hill. That's not productive for any of us. It will never be productive for any of us. But what is productive is calling out the conflicts of interest that are definitive and are unpublished communications. That is productive, and they'll have to make choices. Each of our reps will have to make choices, no different than they had to make a choice to sign on to the open letter. to the latest letter to Gary Gensler, they're going to have to make choices. And hopefully that choice becomes that much easier to make when you see that the conflicts of interest exist and influence the whole situation that we've been put through MMTLP. But hopefully that sheds enough light that, and I promise I will, as soon as I gotta send one more email, and then I'm gonna release, probably won't take me more than 10, 15 minutes, first two names from FINRA.
Release the Kraken. We have three hands. I don't know the order, but one thing I wanted to say before that is, hopefully this is, we see all the time in movies, in thrillers and stuff. When you're about to get to the climax, no pun intended, or no, that's what she said. But when you're about to get right before the music starts to ramp up and then it gets really tense, and so it builds up to it, and so right before something happens or something big happens, things get really tense and quote unquote the scariest right before, right? So hopefully this is a situation like that where we're headed for something good. It's just the lead up, or a better analogy would be like a roller coaster. Right before you get to the drop, it starts going up really slow, and then the last couple of clicks, and then you're on a free fall. So hopefully that's something that is true in this situation as well. I don't know what the order of the hands are. So
I think Steph is first.
honor system. Who was first?
Steph.
Steph. Mr.
Yo,
Steph.
what's up, man?
What's up, Brosephosaurus?
Yeah, not much, man. Listen, so
The time is.
by the way, if you got to cut me off,
10:00
cut me
p.m.
off because I really need to say a few things. First off, Kurtis, I'm sure you get this a lot. I need abs like yours. No, I'm sure you get a lot that it's very much appreciated what you're doing. You know, I also want to echo what Torch said. You fucking say the word and what it is that needs to be done, and it'll be done. Because I'm in a different position than a lot of people, and I've spoken to people that are in really rough shape. And to know that the people we leaned on in elected positions that were giving us guidance, if you will, was actually misguiding or misinforming. I am I really shocked? Shocked? No, but it's still disheartening and sad. So you say the word, and I'm just going to echo what Torch said. Fuck them. The other thing I want to say is one thing that you, Kurtis, mentioned about people. I forgot what exactly. I'm paraphrasing. Like strongly, not encourage, but basically, you didn't say threaten. Another reason why I appreciate you, because if you recall early on, I was making those videos, and it was just a way of like decompressing, giving people, little laugh. It's not my fucking professional gig. But it came a point in time, and I know I mentioned this in spaces in the past. I don't know what it was that did me in, what video or what I said, but, and for anyone listening, this is real shit. And so I believe Kurtis 100% that he may have been approached in a certain way, because when I have 3 cop cars and an ambulance in front of my house, and I have to explain to 3 officers that I'm mentally sound because they were given a tip that I might harm myself or others. And that tip came in from either Washington, D.C. or from Washington, D.C. to a state office, then to the police precinct. And that officer that was the lead officer, he told me flat out, he's like, there's one of 2 ways this is going to go down. You're going to get in the back of my car in handcuffs, or you get in the back of the ambulance. So I don't know what it is that I did or what I said, but I pissed somebody off, rubbed them the wrong way. That's one of the reasons why I kind of stopped making videos. And I started putting my head to the books and looking shit up. And to be honest with you, really the biggest reason is because it got to a point in our situation where it's just not funny to me. It's just like I can't find the humor in it. So Curtis, you know, you're putting your neck out there, and I really appreciate it.
Hey, Steph, the back of the ambulance is more comfortable, just saying.
Dude, it's not fucking funny, man. It was an hour and 45 minutes of trying to explain to these cops that whatever report they got and whatever information they have was not me, and is not tied to me in any way. And it took, my wife got a phone call. They corroborated some of what I said to her without me on the phone. At the same time, she was on her way to pick up the kids from school because I couldn't pick them up. And now they're rolling up. And my wife puts kids in the house. And I'm like, what the is going on here? And at the end, it took the lead officer to make a phone call and confirm with whoever was on the other line that the information they received could have been tied to maybe one or two or three other people and not me. And the officer got loud on the phone, and he was like, came up to me. He's like, sir, I just want to apologize for wasting your time. And I'm like, what the is going on? And he goes, you can come by the precinct and collect a police report in a few days. And you know what? My fucking property, my house, me, and that report was redacted. My house, my address, my ass on the line, and that report is redacted. I don't know who the fuck called it in. So Curtis, whatever it is, you are much smarter than I am. But whatever you need, reach that. I'll echo what Torch said, and I appreciate you because I know this shit isn't easy. All right.
Steph, that's crazy. And I was just making a joke there because
Oh no,
I
you're
know
good.
that,
You're good. It was
personally from experience, the back of the squad cars, they don't have cushions on the
no.
seats.
They put the
you know what I mean?
plastic in there, and I'm like, come on, sucks. You know, they're trying to save weight. I'm like, give me a break.
Anyway.
No, yeah, I hear you though.
Yeah. So, you know, the ambulance, you get to like lay down and stuff. Anyway, so is it K Lounge or Deadly?
or off of the drink
K.
and everything, and if everything's uncomfortable back there? No.
Okay.
Curtis, I just wanted to ask a quick question. Have you provided this information to the company?
Yes.
Good. So Greg has this as leverage now.
Safe to assume.
Good. And you know, I told Jack this before, and I'll say this: like, you're showing them a lot of courtesy. You see how I use your name and respect. Aha. And respect, you know, and grace where I don't think they deserve it. And like I said to Jack, I feel like when they halted us, you know, they took away a fair and free market. And I think by you exposing, like, you know, showing what they've done, we might get a fair resolution. I understand what Jack was saying too. I think, you know, Congress should be respected, and, you know, the system should be respected, and we should have a certain amount of tact when we deal with these people. But with them trying to change a narrative, and with Gary Gensler snubbing Ralph Norman, you know, for the second time, you know, 6 days late last time, and now he's late again. Like, the arrogance on these people, you know, I really think, you know, I don't take my opinion for it. But, you know, after everything we've suffered, you know, let the truth be set us free. And that's all I need to say.
Honestly, like, I don't think any one of us wanted to obviously no one wanted to be in this situation, but I don't know very many of us, of the hundreds of people that I've talked to, right, over this last 18 plus months, that wanted to be a political activist. Not one of us wanted to talk. Like, did anyone have on their bingo card that you're going to be calling Congress multiple times a week for the last year? I didn't. That's for sure. It's not on my wish list. No one wants to spend I mean, sure, we found ways to make it entertaining and to make a community out of this, and kind of share in the trauma and the suffering that we've all gone through, and figure out ways to, uh, whether it's within factions of the community, or we're all together working and pulling in the same direction. We found ways to manage and to stay together through all of this, but um, it's horseshit. We shouldn't be put into this scenario to begin with. We should have been able to be
I,
protected by the regulators in the first place.
I just want to say something. I know the reason why you're doing this right now is because you're disappointed, because you know, even though we've all suffered, we've actually showed a lot of you know, respect to them on the, you know, as far as trying to get a resolution that way. The company, you know, and everybody, like we've actually, you know, tried our best in our suffering, even with the you know, imbeciles coming in and different people attacking us and whatever. We've showed a lot of, you know, we've been reserved in the way we think. But like, I honestly have to say that I can hear it in your voice that you're disappointed, and you don't want. I know you don't want to do this. I know you don't want to really. But the thing is, I think you should. And the reason why I think you should is because they deserve infinite loss, and we deserve for everyone to know what they've done to us. I remember the Christmas losing that money and having. We still had a great Christmas because I love my children, I love my wife, but it's a difficult Christmas, right? And it's been 18 months knowing that I've been robbed for no reason other than these people are not following a free and fair market. The thing I love about the market, it's balance. Even though, you know, Ken Griffin says, he says he sets the price. I believe in a free and fair market where sometimes they win, sometimes we win. But it's not fair when they lose that they can steal from us. And I heard it today in your voice that you really do. We you know what? Retailers and people like us, hardworking people, we don't like to hurt people. Even them, we don't even want to hurt them. We just want what's fair to the rules of what they set. You set the game. We won that game. Why are you, you know, throwing the chess pieces off the table when we won it? Just give us what we deserve. So if you have something that they, you know, that can, you know, I'm fine with giving them time to like answer this situation, but I think we've given them enough time. It's 18 months. People like Tony's dead. You know, our other shareholder, his wife passed away. There's been so much suffering. People with addictions are reverting back to their addiction. Like, come on.
You know, one thing I want to say real quick. The way the analogy that I make is, you know, when I was in high school, I was on a basketball team, and our coach would always say, you know, don't go bitch and complain to the refs. You know, I'll handle the refs. You know, let me, you know, if whatever it is, I'll handle that. And so there were games where you would play where you knew that it's probably you're not going to get a lot of calls. You play them anyway. You know that the refs are going to, you know, favor the other team, but you play anyway. And the reason I'm saying that is when you invest in a market and you know that chances are that the scales are tipped in their favor, and yet you invest anyway. You make that conscious decision to invest anyway, and we made that decision to play those games anyway, right? But those games were played down to the final buzzer. We either won or we lost. But you know, sometimes if everything, hopefully, if everything goes your way, you can win a game that the refs are trying to favor the other team because of whatever reason. But what doesn't happen is, you know, there's 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they just stop the game and don't let you finish the game and don't let you win,
Right.
even though they were favoring the other team the whole time, and that you weren't getting calls and they were getting the calls. They still didn't let you finish the game. And I feel like this situation is analogous to that, because even though the scales were tipped in their favor, this was the one situation where we were going to win the game, obviously. And instead of letting the clock run out, they just called it with a couple minutes left. They didn't even call it. They just stopped the game. And you know, that's where my biggest issue is. It's like we played the game your way with your rules, with your with things that were in your favor, and the one time where we were going to come out on top, you didn't let the game finish.
Yeah, you know what's crazy about that, and it you know, this is part of the diversity in this community, is that you just described, Jack, which is exactly, I think it's a great metaphor for what we've all experienced, but for, you know, a smaller portion of the community. So I'll go to my OG brother Torchlight here. This is the second time around. This is a 3-year anniversary of the same shenanigans, because, you know, the origin story here goes back to the Torchlight and Metamaterials merger in June of 2021, where the same exact circumstances occurred. We didn't have a deletion, right? We had a reverse takeover, but the same perpetuity, shorts being kicked in perpetuity, occurred. And that's, you know, they still didn't want accountability. Even going through the private spin-out process, they still didn't want to take accountability for their actions. They lost the game and they flipped the board. So it's sickening. What's more sickening, I understand. I hate losing. I'm not a good loser at competitive events. I'm not a baby sore loser, but what I can't imagine, that the hardest thing for me to fully perceive in all of this is the amount of coordination, not by those who hold short positions, because obviously they're fighting for their lives, right? But FINRA, SEC, certain congressional contacts, like the amount of coordination to cover up the activity and to facilitate it, because it's big money and big money has big power and authority. That's the part that I think we all knew in the back of our heads, whether you've been a victim to it at some point in your life or not. We all knew it, but you hadn't experienced it at this level. And the deeper down the rabbit hole you go, and the more exposure that there is, the more disgusting it is, and you can't unsee it. So that's my problem. It is not a one-time occurrence. It's not isolated to MMTLP. It wasn't even isolated in this instance to the preferred shares. It goes all the way back to Torchlight, but you have this constant pattern of behavior where the people on the other side will do whatever possible in a rigged game, and when they lose, they refuse to take the result. And that's bullshit. So,
Right. They refuse to let the clock run out.
Can I give a
Go
quick
ahead.
analogy too?
Sure, of course.
So let's say there's a mob member that has like a cop in his pocket, right? So the cop looks the other way because they're the mob members doing what they have to do and making it really nothing's happening here. But then the mob member gets caught with a body, and it gets frozen in time with that body, and then the witnesses start coming out, and then the cop says to them like, "Hey, you got caught with a body. Everything's frozen in time. There's witnesses like Kurtis. What am I supposed to do now?" So we know corruption exists, right? But now they got caught with the body, and the more witnesses that are coming out, and the more they've given us time to fingerprints and everything, and the mob member can't really get protected by the cop. And I hope that's what Kurtis has right now. And I'll just leave it at that.
Well, when that was the. Hang on one second, guys. I'm sorry. I'm getting a call. Carry.
So Liquid 88 and then Deadly, I think I can't see the whole thing. Deadly something.
Hey, Kurtis. Hey, man. I just, I don't know if you saw Rare DD's post today, but he put something really interesting about how James Angel has apparently been up to his old tricks since before us, and that he was involved with OSTK, I'm not sure if you had a chance to see that, but if not, I want you to definitely check that out if you have a chance, because I cannot
did.
believe this fucking guy. This guy is on my list, man.
I did see it, and I liked it and retweeted it immediately. I see he's in here too. Rare DD. I feel like I give you props every single space that I see you in because you deserve it. You're like literally the most thorough DD, well put together, fantastic videos. You're absolutely amazing. Seriously. But I did see that, and you know what? You know what's also rich is one of the mediums that we've been finding all this information with the kind of backroom collusion that's happening is through the fight. Costas is he's kicking me underneath the table right now, but I'm gonna do it. Sorry, bud. The Financial Information Forum, and if you look on there, if you look on there, let me read it. I have this backed up, and if I read it, you'll have a different appreciation for it. But the James Angel was actually brought in as subject matter expert for GameStop in late January, maybe it's actually first week of February 2021 for the Financial Information Forum. So there's a constant repeat offense here where he's kind of the cleanup crew to come in, obfuscate, pretend that you're a defrauded investor. It's literally a pattern of behavior. He's a mercenary.
Seems like he's so in the Hollywood, in the industry of Hollywood, there's a job. It's called being a quote unquote fixer. I got tons of books on that stuff, so you read about it. It's when something happens with celebrities or with high profile individuals that needs to be it needs to be made to go away, and they call these fixers in, who are whatever connections they have or whatever they do, they just come in and they quote unquote fix the situation. Seems like it's a job like that. But I just want to say Rare DD is possibly could be my favorite double D, but DDD, triple D, I got to go somewhere else. Robin, you got that title.
Yo, let me just finish real quick, Curtis. Just two things. The first thing is please watch your six, brother. Please, please, please watch your six. This is we're getting into the area here where I think desperate measures are going to start to happen. So please protect yourself and your family, and please be careful. But then the other side of my mouth, I'm going to say burn every motherfucking one of them, Curtis. Burn them down, dude. Thank you.
Deadly Clappy, you had your hand up in a minute ago. We'll come right back to you.
Is it my turn? Hello?
Yes, sir. It's yours.
All right. Hey, Curtis, thank you for all the blood, sweat, and tears that you've put into everything you've done over these last 18 months. And with that being said, I just want to ask you a couple questions. From this morning, you said, call your representative and this and that. I live in a certain district in Ohio where my representative is completely worthless, doesn't care about MMTLP. So with that being said, who should I contact if I want to call an office, to put pressure on? Pete Sessions? Or who would you want people to put their time, into trying to make a difference here and move the ball forward?
Yeah, honestly, when provided that feedback, it's really aimed at those that have established effective relationships and noticing any changes in behavior and direction that you're getting from congressional offices. So if you haven't been able to establish it, I wouldn't reach out to another office necessarily. But I will, if you don't mind, I have a question. So does your particular representative maybe not align with politically who has been, at least from an optics standpoint, been the party that has been supportive of MMTLP?
Yeah, they're the same political party as Gary Gensler.
Okay. So
That was a nice roundabout way of asking that question.
we tried to beat around that bush and then just tore right through it. Okay. So what's interesting is they probably have a political opponent, right? Or they are a political opponent. And, this, I'm not, I consider myself to be a political free agent at this point, right? Like the most important topic and issue at hand is that we've all been living for 18 months. For me, right? I can't speak for anybody else. Everybody has what's important to them or not important to you politically. But to me, the most important thing here is transparency and accountability. So if you are willing to maybe change the approach and not talk about MMTLP, but what some of your regional or their regional opponents are or are not doing, that may be another effective approach of them kind of lending their ear to you. But I've been involved in the last 3 weeks in a meeting that was the opener to the meeting. So, and they're keenly interested and aware. So, try every avenue.
Okay. Thank you. And a couple more questions, if you don't mind. I know you can't reveal a lot of sources and stuff, and I'm not asking for that, but obviously I'm a scientist by training, so I'm just just natural curiosity questions, like did all this information that you find, is this part of the DD team, like that was able to investigate this? Did you get a lucky FOIA request like Howard? Like, how did you know, like we've been stuck for 18 months. How did you get lucky with this kind of?
I didn't. Someone else did. Yeah, someone else did. So, and it's in a public domain, and I'm almost positive that all 412 people listening have visited this web portal multiple times. So it's on a public domain. It's sitting there. It does require some inherent knowledge about who's responsible for what. So that's why this community is awesome, is because you wouldn't know what you're looking at. It doesn't mean anything by itself, but to know the procedure, to know who's responsible for it, I'm giving it away right now. If you just paid attention to what I've asked questions about in the last week, I'm giving it away. There's a highlighted video with one of the individuals. It's like this is all right there sitting in plain sight. And I personally, to answer your question, I personally look for this data for months. And I don't know if they took down the URL and then they republished it. I have no idea what happened. I will tell you, I want to deleverage anything against me personally, right? And by the way, appreciate all the thank yous and stuff like I do genuinely appreciate it. I like recognition is cool. I super appreciate it. All I care about is us moving the ball forward. Like I do not care about one piece of it. And again, another person who I really just talked to for the first time. I don't like talking to people privately on the phone. I get way too many phone calls. I respect my own privacy. It's hard to manage all of this with a very busy career and being a parent. And it's a lot to juggle all of that. So I don't talk to a lot of people on the phone. And I talked to this one individual, and he's been amazing, and he does amazing work within his state. He has an amazing relationship with his representative, and he shared the information. And again, anyone that was looking at it, there may be 10 people in the community that would understand the significance of it when you see it. And when you know what you're looking for. And it was spawned off of a question that I asked publicly. So you don't know. It's just a testament again to, you don't know what's going to be the thing that leads to another reveal, or a rock that you turn over that somebody else hasn't looked at yet. So it's a public domain. It's not a FOIA request. It happens to be something with published procedures and process, and it'll all make perfect sense, and we'll all be kicking ourselves the way that I was kicking myself for not stumbling upon this before. But I looked for it very intentionally, could not find it. Someone else found it, sent it to me. Again, this has been shared to 24 people minimum, so I'm not a single point of failure here, but I am eager to release all of these names as quickly as possible.
This is different than the videos that you posted from the. I remember like they had that roundtable conference with all the FINRA people and Cromwell and like all the.
Someone's reading ahead. Someone's reading ahead.
Oh, yeah, I remember you posted that a long time ago.
Yep.
Okay, one last thing. Pete Sessions, and then I just obviously if he's riding both sides of the fence here, like, and McHenry is compromised since he leads the committee and he's not going to give us anything. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I have no problem like exposing Pete Sessions, but it's like, okay, so if he's supposedly one of our top leaders who's signing letters on our behalf and shit like that, could he say, "Oh, well, fuck you guys, you're trying to bite the hand that feeds you here. I'm trying to help you," supposedly, you know what I mean? And then this gets shut down. Like, good luck of getting anything now. Like, I'm signing off on you guys. Is that a concern?
Well, first of all, there are no complete lost causes. I'll tell you that. People flip for many different reasons, right? But most importantly, pressure. So there are no lost causes on the congressional front, including the chairman of the House Financial Services Committee. So we'll see how this all plays out. There's a reason you release the data, right? And you release the conflicts of interest, and then some interesting questions come up, and maybe you have some media members that want to cover this that have been waiting for this for a long time, because it is a big missing puzzle piece. And there's something that plays in there after. I want to, like, it's so hard to put all of this together in a thread. It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck putting all this together in a thread. But what's more important is being able to explain it and walk through. And the great part about all of this is it's so easy to understand that every single person here is going to be able to articulate this to your congressional representative and talk about the conflicts of interest that exist, and how, wow, this is a pretty screwed up system that you would allow people that have an actual financial interest in an outcome to manipulate it, right? That seems kind of screwed up. That's even worse than a self-regulatory organization with complete and total immunity is allowing members on a committee on that SRO to have that kind of influence. That's really messed up, right? So, and that's what I'm talking about. When you know the procedures, when you understand what the process is, and then what was happening, right, with the corporate action and what should have happened with the corporate actions, and what FINRA actually did with the corporate actions and drafting and modifying the language and the dates, and then using that as the excuse to pull the U3 halt, all of that is revealed. And the conflicts of interest, the reason I want to release the 2 FINRA names now, I do need to get off here so I can actually do that. But the reason I want to do that is because you guys know their names.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Thank you, Jack. I do want to, I actually stopped into the space. I don't normally join evening spaces, but I heard drama. Everyone knows my stance. I hate the drama. Like, I cannot stand people talking about people in this community. I cannot stand it. It has, honestly, when you ask, like, how is this coming out 18 months later? If we took half the time that we spend tearing each other down within this community to everybody pitch in and uncover some data and work together, we probably would have been in this position long before. I will tell you again, and this is not going to be popular how it goes over. I see the name of the space. I know obviously what's being referenced. Mark asked me for the date. Well, ask is being really generous. I'm sure he's listening in. Hi, Mark.
AFMB.
It wasn't necessarily asked for, but here's my take. One,
Wait, were you threatened? Were you threatened for the data?
that's a strong word. I was told what powers exist and means of acquiring the data before
That's available.
before being asked for it. So, but you know what? Here's my deal, right? If I expressed my concern earlier in this call, right? My concern, my number one concern, more than personal safety, number one concern is that it feels like to me that TradeStation didn't just raise their hand out of the goodness of their hearts, right? That I don't think that happened. And I don't think that they're necessarily first to squeal gets the deal either. It appears to me that TradeStation raised their hand because one of their compliance leaders was assigned to do so. And that relationship, and again, I encourage anybody, the best thing you could do is to teach everybody how to fish, not just putting fish on the table for everybody else, but teach you how to fish. And if you don't get really familiar with how to look up organizations from either the SEC or most powerful utility is ironically FINRA broker check. And if you go into FINRA broker check and you type in the name of a firm, an institution, and then you click on that firm's profile, and then you click disclosures, you'll see a little bitty, it's not even something that stands out. You'll see something that says report, see detailed report. When you pull up that report, it's going to show you their disclosure history, which is all of that institution or firm's relationships, all the C-suite, so their COO, CEO, CFO, all their owners, international, national ownership percentages. You're going to see all their affiliates. You're going to see their clearing firms. You get to see what they used for record retention. You get all of the background, and then you also get all of their violations, right? That their fines, civil, criminal, you get it all. And the reason that's so important that everybody knows how to do that, how to fish for these things, and it's going to be really important here in just a little while when you start looking at these organizations that hold conflicts of interest with MMTLP that weighed in and manipulated us. TradeStation doesn't have a lot of affiliates. So when I say that they're on an island by themselves, to me, if I'm putting myself in the shoes of our adversaries and they believe that they're more or less screwed, that eventually they're going to have to pay the piper, then you're at some point, you're deciding what is the way that I can mitigate cost exposure? How can I prevent this from being outrageously expensive? We already know that they've done that twice. They did it with the Torchlight and Metamaterials merger, with kicking the can and delaying settlement, which eventually led to MMTLP becoming tradable. And then they did it again with the spin out and the U3 halt. That wasn't necessarily the end game. I don't think they truly thought they were going to get away with all of it. I think they thought that they could delay it enough to mitigate cost exposure. But obviously, we've done a really effective job as a community at organizing, at communicating, at advocating, putting together all the evidence in a really irrefutable way, to where at some point when we're acquiring the share count, sponsoring that, where people are advocating for and moving their shares to AST, eventually someone was going to be over. And so is it any coincidence that it happens to be a relatively small broker dealer that raises their hand first and says it before they run out of their allotment? No, that's way too many circumstances that have to align for it to be purely coincidental to me. So again, my concern is whatever happens, that TradeStation tries to set a low ceiling for settlement that would be used as a benchmark for other broker dealers to ultimately settle out at, and unfortunately, get us not fair value for what the imbalance is from liabilities to shares that should have existed of the 165.5 million. So that's my fear, and the way to impact that in some way, shape, or form is to expose every single party that's tied to this in any way possible. TradeStation's got some exposure here, and go ahead and let that cat out of the bag. They didn't up front, but they do now, and it's that's why I think what I think. So
You mean it wasn't just a coding error?
it wasn't just a coding error.
Who knew?
Hey, Jack, Sika Star dropped and had to come back, and I don't think he has a lot of time. I know Kurtis is trying to get out of here, so I want to make sure we get back to Sika Star, and then it was Q.
You're the boss. You do what you want.
Yay for DD and triple Ds. I'm gonna be quick, real quick. First of all, I just want to say a few things and just let that simmer with everybody who's listening. Keep your enemies closer and kill them with kindness. If it smells like a piece of shit, it probably is. And if you're looking for an attorney, you should probably get a second and or third opinion. And based on what I just heard, I would wonder why my attorney, given the ample, irrefutable due diligence that has been done by this community and Rare DD, nice pat on the back earlier, Kurtis, in case you are Rare DD, ha ha ha, I know you're not. Because why would my attorney just go for the smallest fish in the sea? If we're going to go fishing, let's catch the biggest fish we can catch, right? If you look at other cases, you will see that probably that was the play, to go for bigger fishes, not just the smallest fish in the pond. So yeah, think about those things. I saw my mission earlier and I accepted it. I blew up Angel some more on LinkedIn. And Kurtis, if you have just a second to spare, I know you're super busy, and if you don't, that's cool. But if you send me the GME James Angel info, that would be great. And last question, is there anything that you would suggest anybody who's up for the challenge of posting on LinkedIn or just sharing some information given the recent developments?
Well, these are 10 individuals that are real people with real LinkedIn profiles, because I've looked at every single one of them and combed through the resumes, and they have some impressive resumes. Let me tell you, there's one individual there that personally, very scary, very scary, very well respected, but very scary, intimidating figure. So, very interesting background. Special ops. Yeah. Very interesting background. Not someone I want to make enemies with. And by the way, just because these 10 people weighed in on it doesn't mean, it just means that there was a consensus on how to handle it. We'll let the people that ask questions professionally figure that out. But those will be the people that I would recommend you seek a star to maybe escalate to. But what I don't want to do, this would be too easy, is to just release the names and then everybody goes recklessly, and then we are completely disorganized and nobody understands the connections. And then, of course, what happens with that is the evidence trail disappears page by page by page. That's what happened with the financial information form and the 404 stuff. By the way, before I forget, Star, I'm gonna send this to you right now.
And real quick, I definitely wasn't saying let's go after those people,
Oh, I know
but
you weren't. Yeah, my bad. I wasn't insinuating.
no worries, not at all. Yeah, I just, but if there is something proactive, productive we can do, whether it's reaching out to the Attorney General and sharing some information, asking some questions, or your representative if they happen to have a LinkedIn profile. I mean, I guess that option's there.
I think Devin Nunez is going to be pretty interested in this information.
I blew him up all day. I'm not sure if he has LinkedIn or not. I can't remember. If he does, I've been messaging him there, or not messaging him, but tagging him. I definitely tagged him on X for sure.
He certainly has a true social. As the CEO, he's definitely got a true social.
I think I did tag True Social on LinkedIn as well.
Let me say, I forgot because I brain dead now, but so Mark did ask me for the data. I'm not opposed to giving this data. Obviously, I want to air it out. I want us to be able to leverage it. I want it to be able to not have to air it out, because you turn it over to the appropriate authorities and you get the action that we all are deserving of. But I'm not opposed to Mark having this. I'm not concerned with Mark having this data. But what I wasn't going to do is front run the opportunities and the authorities, is what I'll refer to them as, that I think can make this data most effectively used and leveraged to get us steps towards a resolution. So also, asking nicely normally helps, instead of flexing on people, but it's okay. Everybody's got their own style. I will say, I want to say this. Let me say this. I've defended, like Vin and I have gone at each other. I have nothing but respect for everybody in this community. So Vin and I have gone debating, I'll just say, in one of the chats. Have nothing against anyone, including Vin. But because I came to the defense of Savvy, because I understand what's being purported as she or busy or whoever work with Mark or on Mark's behalf, and I can tell you personally that I appreciated the breakdown of the trade station litigation that Savvy did, and I can also tell you I know for a fact that she doesn't work with Mark, and I asked specifically with my little circle of trust for this data not to be shared with anyone. So I don't have those same concerns. I understand why that narrative exists, and I understand optics, right? I also understand that some of the people that are accused of working for other individuals are also people that don't have explicit and total trust in those individuals. So it's trust is earned. It's earned within this community. Investors, we all have trust, and have built that trust from within each other, because we literally have been all we've got, right? Over this 18 months, and we've had to band together, and there's been a lot of relationship building that's happened, some with more so than others, but we've had to build that trust. But it's certainly not just entitled. Like, no one is entitled to trust that comes from outside this community. So and we've had to be skeptical, because at every turn, literally every turn, we've had deceiving, seedy fucking characters that come out of the woodwork, right? So it doesn't matter whether you're a journalist from Forbes or Wall Street Journal or New York Times. We've seen it all. We've all seen it all. James Angel. We've seen so many characters. So everybody's right to be cynical and skeptical of everyone, including me. I say it every fucking day. You can be skeptical of me and my intent. And I have no problem coming up to the mic or sharing my face on a live stream, because I know the work that I put in every day, and I've been here, and I'm obviously very well versed in this situation and all the timelines, events, and facts. But not everybody has earned that trust. And people that lose trust because of things that they do or the way that they act in the community, that's not my fault. That's not my fault. We're not all going to sit here and manage personalities, but I will say this, like, people screw up. People are still human in this community. People have fallen off the wagon. People have done dumb things that have hurt our efforts. It's rough, right? Like, no one's a professional stock manipulation fighter here, right? We're all amateurs that have had to figure this shit out over the last 18 months. So I'm asking, please consider giving your fellow investor grace, all of you. Some of you more pointed at others. Like, please do that so we can continue to band together, because it's like the same analogy that you gave before, Jack. Like, we're coming up on that critical point in time where tensions are going to be high, and they'll do anything and everything to thwart this community. And so my only ask is keep everybody, keep you don't have to love everybody. I'm not everybody love everybody. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, try to keep the personal attack noise to a minimum and keep the focus on the important, relevant data that's getting ready to be released and should be leveraged. Like, we'll do our part and then everybody run with it and leverage the hell out of the data. But like, the personal attacks and the division, it's not going to serve us well here, as we enter what hopefully is, big steps towards resolution. I will personally view that and behaviors of distraction when we have all-time late breaking news of critical names. I will view that as intentional distraction, right? That's just how I'm going to view it. So just please, 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 as best as everyone possibly can, stay focused on what matters and what you can do to contribute to some way, shape, or form getting a resolution. That's my only ask.
I just want to
Right on.
ride on Curtis's coattails real quick. I've definitely got a shout out to Nancy. You gave me the fuel to light my fire some more. Also, just agree to disagree. You don't have to love everybody. Keep your eyes on the prize. What's the priority here? Who's wrong or right? Or making sure we shine the light on the cockroaches and make this wrong right. That is priority number one. And if they're pushing the ball forward, that's all you need to know. Just my 2 cents.
And Sika Star,
Thank
real quick. Sorry, babe. Nice catch on that DDDDD thing.
He's quick. Hey, Curtis, real quick. We had the four hands, and are you willing to take those real quick? I know you're really trying to get out.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay. So I think it's going to be Q, Marcos, Steph, and then I
Q,
think that's the
Steph,
last one.
Marcos, and then Dirty.
That's what he said.
You said Marcos before Steph.
Marcos had his hand up and left for a second.
Then, just bro tip, you're not going to win this argument.
Fine. I don't care who goes.
Look, guys, I want to thank Curtis.
Q, the floor is
I
yours.
want to thank Curtis for being here. Curtis, shout out to you, man. I know you've got some.
You have to unmute.
Babe, I don't think you can hear. Babe, I don't think you can hear Q.
Should I drop down and come back up?
She dropped down, so you're good.
Okay. I wanted to make mention of the article I posted in the Nest, because the idea of a fixer was mentioned earlier. We do have a fixer of our own working against us. It's lo and behold, it's Ari Rubenstein's uncle, Howard Rubenstein, and this is the individual who Mr. Rubenstein most likely went to when all of this info came out, tying him and his firm to this situation that we're in. So I wanted to make mention of that. The fixer is what Jack had mentioned earlier. It's really an individual who you would go to if you were a congressman or somebody of importance, and you just got caught with a 16 or 14-year-old underage girl, and it's all on camera, and they're about to take this video of you with this underage girl to the highest publication possible. This is who you would go to if you were in a situation like that. And it's undeniable that Rubenstein, our friend Art Rubenstein, went to Howard Rubenstein, his uncle, to get his name wiped off the credit law firm list and other important publications that are now missing from the internet. So I just wanted to reinforce that. I don't want to take up too much time because I know we have some other hands, but yes, we do have a fixer working against us. His name is Howard Rubenstein. You can look at this article in the Nest. It gives information as to who he is, what he does, where he's located, and what he's known for. He is known for being that individual, the fixer. But that's what I wanted to say. I'm gonna finish my workout. I'm at the gym right now. But thank you guys for the mic. I appreciate you guys. Curtis, shout out to you, man. Appreciate you. There's some things I want to chat with you about later on. But it's cool. I'm gonna let you go. But thank you guys.
Thanks, Q. Real quick, if you guys want to actually read about the fixers in Hollywood to kind of get a better idea of what I'm talking about, there's two books that I would recommend.
They're real.
First one is called The Fixers. It's by it's a group work. It's by Eddie Mannix, Howard Strickland, and others. And the second book is The Hollywood Book of Scandals, and that's by James Robert Parrish. I'm a book nerd. I can't help myself.
I think Marcos was next.
Someone talking?
No, nobody talking at the moment.
Okay.
Steph, your hand up. Oh, Marcos is there.
Marcos is back. Yeah, I thought I was glitching too because I dropped down. Marcos, you're waving, but it tells me you have a speaker, so go ahead.
He might be having a mic problem. Yeah, he's
Okay.
okie dokie. Since there we go. There he is. There we go. Marcos. Yeah, there we go.
Go ahead, Marcos.
Thanks for the mic, guys. And Curtis, please check the Nest. I just put a video for your epic monologue this morning, and I tried to step up my game and make a video that was up to the standard of your talk this morning. So please take a look at it, and you have some great message for the community there. And that's all. That's it. Call your reps, guys. Call your reps. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Marcos. Did you edit out all 6, 7, 8 F-bombs?
No, I left them there.
Okay.
Yeah, who knew Curtis is a potty mouth?
And
you
also,
knew, Jack.
Also, I did something else. I included at the 8 minutes and 40-second mark. I included the video from Pete Sessions. So you don't have to point people to another video. The video is already there.
You're the man. Appreciate you.
All right, man. Appreciate it too. Thanks for the mic, guys.
Is anybody gonna get pissed at me if I want to have a little fun with this with Finra, like playing with their food here?
No, play with the food all you want.
Do it all you want, bro.
That's what she said.
Act.
I just want them to know that we know, but it's obviously takes some time to put together the entirety of the thread. So I'd rather we have some really talented, really talented people in this community that can make some really good artwork. So it's ready to go. So I got 2 ready to go. All right, we'll play with our food.
All right.
Sweet. I think Steph was supposed to go. I don't know if he did because I was glitching, and then Dirty.
He has not gone yet. Steph. Senor Steph.
Steph, come out of the back of the cop car.
Oh, skip me. Sorry.
Okay. Senor Dirty.
Okay. Hey, Curtis. Good shit, man. Let's fight this fight. Let's get this shit over with because I'm tired of being on Twitter. And let's let Curtis go so he can release his shit because I'm sitting here chomping at the damn bit. Let's go.
Hey, let's just, you know what? It's gonna take me like 5 minutes. Let me just do it live, and then maybe we'll give gold stars to whoever guesses the names first.
Oh, you're talking dirty to me, Curtis.
We're doing it live.
Let's do it. Let's make somebody cue Jigsaw. Like, want to play a game? Somebody do it. We'll make this into a game show.
All right, hang on.
I got it.
Wait. Are we doing the game where you tell the names?
Robin, don't cheat.
Wait, I'm. Can you hear me? Or am I flipping glitching again?
We can
You're
hear
not
you.
glitching.
Jesus
I
Christ!
can
Can you
hear
hear
you.
me or
We
not?
Yes.
can hear you.
The question.
I was
What was the
playing a
question?
clip. I couldn't answer the question. What was the question? Okay, I'm
Babe,
going
what was
back
the
to the clip.
question? Hold on, Ben. Hold on. Babe, what was the question?
No. I was asking if you were doing the reveal, like he's going to reveal the
No, I'm
names.
gonna put out a tweet and I'll put it in the nest, and then you guys can guess.
Oh, okay, got it. It's like categories.
Yeah, only this is gonna be a Wheel of Fortune graphic.
That's funny. I am happy to say, spoiler alert, that even though I missed the game, I don't get to miss the presentation of the cup because the Oilers have forced Game 6 back in Edmonton. It is now 3-2 Panthers. And with respect to that, I feel dirty saying go Oilers because I hate the Oilers, but
Go Oilers.
I hate Duck Seafood that much more. So go Oilers.
That's music to my ears, Jack. Glad you are realizing this.
No, I knew that from day one. I feel dirty because ew, Oilers. Well, there's
Hey, Jack, you're prepared to pull the recording for this space, right?
Jesus Christ. I just pulled my data, my archive today, but yes, I will delete that one and request a new one.
But this is a Curtis space, so it's got to be pulled.
That's what she said.
He's like the celeb lately. Someone said that you play the Halloween music while we wait.
Well, while we wait, I can update the hockey fans in the space.
Please do.
The hockey fans in the space need to know this. Connor McJesus is obliterating records, and he now has 34 assists in one playoff series. This is historic because this is the first time since 1999 when Wayne Gretzky retired. This is the first record of his. He had 61 records when he retired, and this whole time he's had 61 records. This is the first one that's been broken ever.
Good news, Curtis. Everybody's going to fall asleep.
I don't think so anymore.
No, you keep that up. I'm not gonna pull this. I'm not gonna pull the space.
You gotta, you don't have to like 15 other people to answer. I've gotten like 15.
Make it Halloween in here.
Maybe you should play like Journey. Give us something
Just a
upbeat.
small town
Batman.
girl.
Play Batman.
Don't stop believing.
Oh, let's get some Def Leppard.
Oh, I love Def Leppard.
So should I turn off replies or keep them on?
Keep them on.
That's what she said. Oh no, wait, damn it. Hey Ben. Hey Ben. Hey Ben. Hey Ben. I just wanted to also play some music. Well, sorry, wrong song. Wrong song. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ben.
Hey, we're creating time marks so that way when you go back through, you know where you're at.
Jesus, Jack, 77 other listeners. You should be more friendly.
I'm pretty friendly to you. Robin, do you remember the conversation we were having yesterday? I was like, yeah, that's because.
Jack, do y'all have an NFT hotel?
You know,
Is that what-
that ticker is BEDZ, I think, right? I'm being dead ass serious. There is a ticker for hotel rooms, and it is, I think it's BEDZ. Conveniently, I know that.
Is it by the minute?
No, it's not by the minute.
You know, it would be better if it
Stand
was
up.
because with Robin, 2-3 minutes and I'm good.
Stop, Jack. This is a daytime, nighttime
Hey,
switch.
I'm not the one who brought it up. That's what she said.
I know. Well, leave it to the Jesus man to bring that up, for Christ's sake.
For Christ's sake, really?
Yeah. Yeah, Advisor shares hotel ETF, and the ticker is BEDZ. I have a very good memory. Sometimes.
Is it a king size bed that kind of breaks to the middle?
That's the one thing. Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Hey, Robin.
I'm buying options and shorting it.
That's what she said.
Hey, Robin, you don't have very good geography, though. You can't remember anything with
Shut up.
geography.
I can remember some. I'm good at I'm good at capitals.
Yeah, as in the capital letters of the alphabet mainly.
Stop. Where did Curtis go? Do we lose
No, I'm
Curtis?
still here. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Can I speak?
Sure.
Thanks. I'm sorry to change the mood, but I got something to say.
Go ahead.
You know, when these people came along and halted this stock, they stole more than just your money. Because unless you were born into money with a silver spoon in your mouth, most of us work for our money. So when they're stealing your money and the use of it, they're stealing your life. They're stealing your past life, all the effort that it took you to put aside and have that money to invest in the stock market. They've stolen our current life. How many person hours have we spent trying to get to some kind of a fair resolution? And they're stealing your future life. in terms of the accretive harms and to people's health, to their family relationships, and all of that. And so that's number one. Number two, everything's my opinion, oppose giving anything to Mr. Basile. I don't think he's earned it. I don't know anything, but I don't trust him or his past history with other tickers. I believe, but cannot convincingly know, that I think he wants that low ceiling. I think his conduct has been more than unbecoming an attorney. He has personally hurt and harmed many legit shareholders over and over. And I think he has impeded our getting a fair resolution. Number three, I think that the people who suspended and mass suspended us and who twice stole in so doing my property, my tweets, my followers, my region. I don't give anything about having a celebrity. All I want is to have a voice and to be able to work to effectuate a solution. And anybody takes that from me, steals from me. I think those people, and then getting shadow banned and all the rest, those people should be exposed. Because what the heck happens? Someone steals my account, I can appeal it, but to get it back, I've got to go to court. And let's see, Twitter values our accounts at $100. I'm sorry, those people can account for themselves. People don't get to harm me and others, to steal from me and others, and do it with impunity. That's another insult. Stealing my good name, my opportunity to gain influence and effectuate a resolution. Giving grace to those people is, in my opinion, naive and stupid. I am blocked by those same people. Why am I being asked to show grace to people who have not shown it to me? I want no credit. I want no fame. I just want what was taken from me. So giving them a pass is another huge harm, and it's injustice levied upon myself and the other shareholders. That's how I see it. I know this is small. It's a small, tiny little bit with respect to the overall resolution, but these bad acts that are not out, that are not called out, will continue and have continued and are continuing. And for everyone that wants to turn the other cheek, go ahead. I choose not to. I'm done.
I kind of agree with a couple things you said, Go, and I'm glad that you said it. These motherfuckers have stolen our time and our energy and our life. We will never get that back. We cannot let them off the hook. They need to pay. This wrong needs to be righted. And also, I mean, to help keep moving the ball forward, I will agree to disagree and just keep my eyes on that. If somebody's helping move the ball forward, that's important to me. And with regards to cases, I would agree that there may be an alternate agenda, because why would an attorney walk away from a slam dunk case with irrefutable evidence for other clients? You got to ask yourself that. If you don't know how to research, all the records are public. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Seekastar. I think we have Corey next. Where'd he go? There he is. Corey's next, and then Wendy. Wendy, it shows you're connecting again. I don't know why you were dropped, but please request again. Go ahead, Corey.
Thank you. Go. You're a strong human being, and I appreciate what you just said a lot. And the way you can, put things in words is great. I want to say regarding that, I agree that you don't you don't give grace to people that are trying to hurt you. And in my opinion, Mark Basile is trying to hurt the community. And remember, we have to remember a year ago, he held a space and asked for $100,000 retainer. And he didn't, I personally asked him, not in that space, but in like a space a week later or something. I asked him, well, who you suing? And his answer was, I don't know. I swear to God. He said he didn't know. So what's he asking for $100,000 for if he doesn't even know at that time who's he going to sue, right? And that was just for a retainer, not the whole case. So it's horrible what's been happening with this person. But I just want to say real quick, and then I'll get off the mic. Somebody commented in the space chat that I'll read it. I'll just read it. If what Kurtis says is true and the trade station is the fall guy for the rest of the brokers, that would mean that possibly, Basile's being paid to win the case and set a ceiling for the rest of us. So that's a good thought. I'm not saying it's true. And then you think about who the plaintiff is in the case too. And if you combine those, that's a possibility. And I think it's an actual intelligent thought. I'm not saying it's true, but I don't know. But I think that, there could be some, whatever there's something there maybe. And then that's about all I got to say. But yeah, I appreciate, everybody in the community. This is a great community, very strong people. I don't like bashing myself. I do bash, but I don't like it. I'm not proud of it. But sometimes it's like you can't let the enemy run all over you. And that's what I like about this community is we do have defenders of the pack, and I appreciate those leaders. And hopefully we get a resolution soon. And I pray God and thank you everybody. Thanks Jack for hosting. Thank you.
Thanks, Corey. Curtis, I sent you a DM. Also, Wendy, if you're listening, I sent you a mic. I don't know, you disconnected. So feel free to either request again, or if you jump out and jump back in, it should let you jump in as a speaker. And I believe in the interim, it's John Bowen next, and then Steph.
Hey guys. Well, first I'd like to say, Jack, do you have any update on Marduk?
I don't have an update any further than what we heard today earlier from Joe. So hopefully we'll get an update soon.
Just that he went to the hospital. I don't know what the update was. Just was that it?
And he's in the hospital, and he's gonna be there for the foreseeable present and future, maybe a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But that's about it as far as I know. If anyone else has an update, that I'm not aware of, yeah.
Okay. Well, my thoughts and prayers are out for him. How old is Marduk? About 25 or so, or
I think he's
less than 30?
35.
Marduk is
35.
he's not
Huh?
35. He's a baby.
He's 35 years
He's
old.
got.
Oh, yeah, he's still young.
Okay. Well, anyway, well, my question is, I mean, I don't have anything against Basile. However, when you come on a space, Raymond Soups, and I had to listen to the recording, and he says for over a year that everybody is basically an imbecile who hasn't gotten an attorney because he told everybody that they needed to go.
John, I'm so sorry. That was my fault. Unmute.
John, you gotta unmute your mic.
Slippery finger.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. So, did you hear anything?
We
Yeah,
heard
we
part
just
of it.
lost the last 5 seconds. You were muted.
Okay. So I was listening to Raymond Soup's recording, and he was on there, and Basile said that he had been trying to get everybody in the community to recognize that the only thing that was intelligent to do was to go the judicial route, and nobody was willing to do that. But at the same next sentence, he said that if you went to the DOJ, it would do no good. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? You just bashed everybody for not going the judicial route, and you want to say the DOJ's not going to help you. And then he didn't explain it. And I'm like, I mean, does he not know the three branches of government? I mean, it's, and then to say that we should have gone a year ago, well, why didn't he have the ability to cross through the arbitration wall a year ago? Nobody could go a year ago because we didn't have the information. I mean, I don't mind the fact that he is somebody that seems to know it all, a lawyer. That's great. Help us. To say stupid crap that makes no sense at all and to bash people and then to call us names and say we're the ones that are actually doing it to him. I mean, circles like he does just drives
You're
me
roboting.
nuts.
You're roboting.
Okay.
Sorry. You're breaking up. I think Robin, you have your hand up, co-host and girlfriend privilege, but I think Jarrell might have an update on Marduk or something to say about that. So go ahead, Joe, and then Robin. Or one of you go.
Joe, go.
Hi, I put 2 tweets up in the nest there, furthest to the left. One of them is that there's a space tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. Did I say that right? Yes, I keep saying the time zone's wrong with this. 11 a.m. Eastern, and that was coordinating the schedule with me and a co-host, and that was the time that worked for our different time zones. So 11 a.m. is what we came up with. And the idea is that it's going to be a recorded space, short, hopefully like 30 minutes, 60 minutes. And it's a chance for everyone to come in and on the recorded space, say some sort of like nice thing to Marduk, well wishes, optimistic things, good things, sort of like when a get well soon card goes around and you sign it and you'll say a little bit of something. But since our way that we hang out together are on spaces, we're doing it in spaces. And the idea is that it's recorded and then we can share it with Marduk. And when he's in the hospital and perhaps feeling sad and for some reason missing all of our crazy butts, he can listen to that and hear it. And I also wanted to share that I've been talking with a friend of Marduk's who visited him yesterday. Wow, was it just yesterday? It's today Tuesday. And Marduk was admitted to the hospital on Thursday night with extreme head pain and was admitted to the hospital. It turned out that the pain was from a brain bleed that was caused by an IVH. I'm going to let you Google that. It's I don't entirely understand what it is, but it's scary and it's serious. He's going to be kept for monitoring and testing for several weeks. And so he's out of the woods, but he's not entirely out of the woods, but he's out of the woods. He's awake. He's alert. He has spoken briefly in 2 different spaces. He's in good spirits. He's optimistic. And he's in really good hands. The hospital that he's in is renowned for brain things, strokes, that sort of stuff. I'm not sure what the specific medical category is for that. So he's with people who really know what they're doing, and he's also said on spaces that they're taking really good care of him. And there was a recorded space on Friday night that he spoke in briefly. It was a Dr. E space. I think it's been deleted. I'm not sure if it's available in other ways. I don't know if it was deleted by accident or by request, because Marduk was talking in there and sharing personal details about what's going on. But in that space, and then when he spoke in Mushroom's music space on Friday, he has read recollection. He's obviously tired and worn out, as one would be, but he still very much is Marduk. He's stoic and full of heart and full of optimistic focus, talking about food, missing his cats. And it was really wonderful to
That's all really good signs.
yeah, it's
Yes.
really good signs. It's scary because
Yeah.
they're not sure what caused it. Part of the reason to be keeping him so long for observation and monitoring is obviously so that he is in the best place possible if it happens again, but it's also to be trying to determine why it happened so that that can be treated, or if it's some sort of medical condition, it can be an ongoing treatment that's taken care of so that he doesn't need to be worrying every day for the rest of his life when this might happen again, or every small headache, wonder if this is what's coming on. And that was something that I really appreciated knowing. And he does have local family, and he has his people, but he obviously thinks of us as his people as well, and we think of him as his people. So I think we're all going to be sort of figuring out how frequently updates come, what updates are going to look like. I don't anticipate it's going to be anything where we are learning or sharing information that's like, you know, he had another MRI this morning. This thing was good. They're worried about that. I do think that we'll be able to be feeling our way through this and getting an understanding of what it means to be learning new information. And as I know information, I will be getting it out to people. And I believe that there's some Canadians who intend to be visiting him, and I hope that they tell us how their visit went in whatever way they feel comfortable, and Marduk feels comfortable. And I'll be sharing information as I can. And that's what I've got to share. And mostly, Marduk, if you end up listening to this space, if you're listening now, or if the space gets pulled and you come back and listen to it, I miss you. We all miss you. We love you, and we are all rooting for you. The MMTLP Army is not just a group of people who are fighting for a stock. We are here backing you. And if anyone here deserves all of that love and support, it's you, Marduk.
And if you can't see it,
Y'all
everybody's
want
throwing up a bunch of hearts.
y'all want me to say a prayer for him?
Sure.
Please do.
I
Please
think
do.
he would appreciate that.
Dear Lord, we appreciate your grace and mercy, and we're praying, Lord, that you'll watch over Marduk. We know that you love him. We don't know the circumstances. We don't know what your purpose is, but we know you love him, and we know that you are our healer. You control it all, and you can, with your breath, take care of any problem at any time. And we ask you, Lord, to watch over him and keep him safe and give him good doctors and have him have a full recovery. And we ask in this in Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, John.
Lots of hearts.
Babe, go ahead.
This seems incredibly superficial after that, but I just wanted to give Curtis's game the first stab, so I will just keep my hand up.
You're probably cheating, though.
How am I cheating? I've had the answer before he asked the question.
He
That's
already
how you're
spoiled
cheating.
it in the comments.
I'm not reading the comments, Dodo. Did he give us the answers?
No, I'm just saying. I don't know.
This was supposed to be
I just
Curtis's
don't know.
game. I guess it's Steph and one. I don't know who was first, but I do want to play the game when we're ready to play the game.
If you hit the buzzer before it's time, you're zonked out.
Well, this was supposed to be Curtis's game, and then it turned into something different.
Have you ever seen the Gong Show? You're going to get the hook.
Curtis wanted to go to bed, and he stuck around to actually do this live. And now everybody's on all 372 people are on the edge of their seat, except for Juan and Steph. They want to actually talk about
I'm in my bed.
I know.
How do you
Yeah, a lot
know?
easier too.
After this, I got news for him. He better be ready for a beating and some more torture because they're coming.
Well, they already got you because you're roboting something bad. Steph and 1, and then Kay.
All right, I'm going to go really just quick.
Please do.
I know, because you want to play the game. I'm sorry, but.
No.
Oh, no, what? What's up?
I love hearing you talk. I just wanted you to talk.
Oh, okay, awkward. You're in a relationship
I'm
with someone
right
that we
here,
know.
babe.
Yeah, seriously, it's awkward.
Oh, God.
No, but seriously, I was talking, this was going back when the situation first started, and I was introduced to one of the OG GME people, and they were like, hey, listen, just piece of advice, just be careful where they bury their losses. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, if there's one enterprise that has like 10 companies, they don't want to have like 9 losers. They want to have 1 loser and 9 winners. And so I would bet anything, which I don't have anything to bet with, but anyway, that
Double or
trade
nothing.
station, double or nothing, trade station would not fucking raise their hand willingly. That all of this is orchestrated. And I agree, it's orchestrated to set a precedent, and that they were essentially talked into it, strongly encouraged / strong armed by the enterprise that were learning, right, all the collusion that's happening, so that they could take a fall and no one else does. Which leads me to my second thing. It's just an idea in case anybody's at the table and wants to think about shit. How are we going to resolve this? Take people's limit orders and just average it. Because quite frankly, from the level 2s that I saw after the halt, I was like, fuck, I was coming in too low. Shit.
Oh
I didn't
yeah.
give myself enough credit. And you know
Well, if
what?
Steph, if that's the case, they have to take into consideration Marduk's limit orders too, because fuck yeah.
Listen, I'm sitting there looking at people's limit orders like, what? Is that possible? And sure as shit, they should have just let it go the last 2 days, but no, they had to get even more greedy. And now look what happens, you fuckers. I'm sorry. Rob wants to play the game, and I do too. I have a couple guesses, but this is Curtis's show. I'm good. Thank you for the mic, Jack.
Sure, brother. Yeah, Robin always wants to play the game. But
But Juan wanted to go first.
I'll be short and quick. I just want to say what wonderful 2 days in a row yesterday with the Tim Pool interview with Chris Rose and gaining momentum and exposure with that. We still need to continue to just get as much momentum to continue from that. But amazing work with today and all of the information coming out, which is another avenue of pressure for these degenerates that basically have stolen not only our money but our time and our lives, caused us hardships and frustrations of what we should be doing with our time right now, and that should be not being on Twitter and wondering how long this is going to last. With people like we come together and just kind of just see the simple fact that somebody as beautiful as Marduk being in the hospital, and he suffered, and he's been picked on. He's been negatively spoken about by Basile and those imbeciles, the Soups crew, and for and he has the balls to ask for that information from Kurtis. He doesn't deserve squat, and it angers me so much to the point that we're already suffering, we're already hurting, but it's the people that have gelled us together. Someone like Marduk. I don't forgive. I'm a believer, but I don't forgive that kind of garbage, especially when he's lying in the hospital right now. It just there's no justice. There's no justice for people like that to prey upon innocent investors. That's what we are. We did nothing wrong, and I'm glad Steph highlighted the simple fact that they made this problem much bigger on themselves. We should continue sharing those levels 2 orders so that they can remember that we haven't forgotten it, but we've only become just more educated and they need to buy back every single share at our price.
You know, I wouldn't. You know, I may not be shy away from drama and enjoy conflict just a bit. You know, but I know how to pick my battles, and I know not to pick one with Juan. This guy eats 45-pound plates for breakfast, and he said it angers him, so I'd steer clear.
I played the game without y'all.
You played with yourself?
I did. I played Curtis's game with you guys.
Did you win?
Just need
Did you win?
was right. I don't know yet. He hasn't told me.
Are you going to share the prize with me?
Hey,
I think
I think everybody won.
it's just
I think everyone won instantly, like in 10 seconds after posting it, because you know the names. So,
well, that was
what
that
you
was
want
fun.
to go ahead and say them? Say the names.
Patty Casamates, also known as Patricia Casamates, and Chris Stone.
Boom and boom. Here's why that's important. Everybody knows Patricia, Patty, is in the FOIAs. She's also responsible. These are two fixed members on FINRA's committee for issuing these decisions. Chris Stone happens to be the other individual and the only one that I knew before. And how did we know it? Because what was alluded to before, he's on video in the SEC roundtable describing the process for how to avoid a U3 halt by processing corporate actions as deficient, which is what should have happened here. But Real Rich, that the same two individuals that we were already familiar with at FINRA, it's a very large organization, are also directly responsible for having a hand in issuing that U3 halt. How do I know that? How do we know it for a fact? Did I just like pull random names out? Well, this is where everybody can do your own DD and get ahead, and you can find out the other 8 names before I release them. Or you can wait. I don't really care, but this is going to insulate me. So there's a committee that is responsible for overseeing these decisions within FINRA. These 2 members of FINRA are fixed members of this committee. And
Airy. Is that one?
nope.
Oh, suck.
Nope. But so when a U3 halt is initiated, it's not done like limit up, limit down, where it's algorithm based. It's not a volatility halt. It's issued by a committee. So it's people electing to make a choice. And that's the important piece here. This is not what has been decided, where it looked like, and this is the way it's been framed since day one, a FINRA sole choice, of FINRA protecting the broker firms. No. There's a
It wasn't
committee.
algorithmic.
It's not algorithmic. It's in no way, shape, or form automated. It is determined by the members of this particular committee. So the other 8 names.
So what you're
Sorry, go ahead.
Curtis, so what you're saying, it is not a U1, it is not a U2, and it's not a U3. It's a U screw you, which is not in the SHOs.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a U1, U2, and U3 is all related to up and down prices and what they described earlier. And now you're saying it's a U committee.
Yeah, let's let him finish what he was saying, please, John. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Curtis.
Yeah, it is a decision that's determined by a group of people, and this is a fixed group of people. and it's represented by 8 member firms and 2 fixed members of FINRA. And again, I think it would be irresponsible to just drop the names without profiles, and so you can see the firms that they represent. But I've already given you like the keys to the kingdom, so everyone figured out the names in all of like 10 seconds. So anybody that also wants to go look, the web portal, which you can find this data, happens to be on FINRA's website. It's been sitting there in plain sight. So anyway, if you want to read up on, tried to get Dave Lauer to explain how these things are initiated, not because I didn't know, but because I wanted him to explain it. But he didn't have any interest in explaining it. It's okay.
Some advocate.
Yeah, it's okay. This community is going to be really educated on this in 24 hours or less. So everyone that's curious, read up on how U3 halts are initiated. You'll find there's one particular committee. I won't name them. I'm not going to give away the answer ahead of time because people are going to start spoiling all the 8 names and ruining all our potential whistleblowers. But that's it. That's the data. And I'll just give you the spoiler, and that is every single one of the 8 individuals, in addition to Patricia and Chris, represent firms that hold liabilities of MMTLP. So here's the really easy takeaway. Should people that hold a financial interest that likely have an upside down liability, right, where they have more liabilities than what they have allocated shares, should they have access and authority to initiate a halt? What was told in the FAQs, and you can pick it out, is they stated that no broker firm was aware of the halt, which is impossible because the entire process for this halt ran through a particular committee to initiate it, which is why I wanted a certain member of another FINRA advisory committee to describe the process. But I think it'll be better if someone with judicial authority asks those questions, or maybe someone with congressional subpoena power asks those questions. But those 8 members are just sitting out there in plain sight. And one more nugget, and then I'm going to go to bed.
Hey, Curtis, have you seen the long lost footage from the U.S. Retail Investor Fraud Roundtable that Yvonne Huber testified at?
I have, yes.
Interesting.
Yes, that happened to be where Chris Stone spoke, and Cromwell Colton.
Shocking. Mm-hmm.
Got a nice Virtue rep on there as well, sandwiched right in between them. Yeah, it's a great video. Yeah, that all came out of when we're looking at Yvonne Huber in the Form 211 submission process.
Hey Curtis, let me ask you a question. Do you know what the best part of dating Robin is? And it's not the obvious answer.
I was going to say, are we allowed to answer this publicly?
No, yeah, absolutely. But no, the best part of dating Robin is that I get all of the. Oh, well, this is funnier now that I thought of it. I get the DD and the DDD.
You get quadruple D.
No, quintuple.
Quintuple.
Stop.
Hey Curtis, I got a serious question, or a serious observation that I made. So Rory Kitty came out, and I know this isn't the GME space, but he came out. He did that live feed. So you mean to tell me that every time he went to go say something, that was a group of people just halting it?
No, that was algorithmic. That's limit up, limit down.
Okay, all right. I was just checking.
GME not on the OTC.
All right, I was just checking.
Curtis, let you go to bed. But my question is, I read a U3 halt was algorithmic.
It's not. It's not. It's a decision. And they cited the decision. And here's your here. This is not even like breadcrumbs. This is like the whole ass bakery. So, the U3 halt was initiated on an advisory notice with an acronym at the beginning of this advisory notice. And that's the committee that's responsible for initiating the halt. And they determine, right? It wasn't algorithmically determined that there was going to be significant uncertainty in the settlement and clearance processes. The members that are also responsible for processing corporate actions as deficient are also responsible for initiating a U3 halt. How rich is that? So anyway, when we're talking about the missing puzzle piece and how this is all rich, it's because the same members that would weigh in on a deficiency notice for FINRA Rule 6490 that would see that a corporate action was going to lead to an issue with settlement and clearance process, but chose not to not process the corporate action, not to declare it deficient. No, instead, they modify the language, they publish it on December 6th, they modify it again on December 8th, and they knew exactly what they were going to do on December 9th. Collusion, baby.
Intent.
And I don't know, like we already named one of them. Fidelity's got a rep on there. let's just make it a little fun. Let's see if they squirm. There's still value in not sharing all of it, but hey, now there's way more people that know where to look. Let's see what comes out. Maybe we'll release a couple names a day, maybe a couple every few hours. Yeah, it's all sitting out there. And by the way, they did move the URL. Found that out last night. But anyway, it's all there. It's still sitting there. And when you go looking for it, everyone's going to find the golden nugget that ties to my concern about TradeStation. And by the way, I'm not asserting that anyone's throwing a litigation or anything like that, but I am certainly concerned that TradeStation would have every incentive of setting a low ceiling. And this committee is headed by the same conflict of interest party. I've said too much. Let's let it simmer for a minute.
Go ahead.
No, I would say I don't want to reveal it all at once without context.
Shout out Golden Nuggets.
What I was gonna say is, if I know Robin, and I do, now that she knows what to look for and where to look, I give it about 15 minutes before she has all the information. She's scary.
Damn, I give her 10.
She's scary. I can never cheat on this woman, or else she'll know before I do it.
Seriously, Curtis, take care of yourself. You know, you're a smart guy. And then just be on the lookout. But also regarding cases, isn't it interesting how long it took Basil? Oh, I'm sorry, Basil. How do you say it? Basil, to finally get the documents and filing ready for BBIG. But man, this case is just moving fast and furious, just forward subpoenas. And it's interesting how if you don't want a case to move forward, how slow you can go.
Butt sack. That's how it's pronounced.
Butt sack.
That's I'd like to. I have questions. But butt sack, you say. Let's go to the hands. I think it's AK Dallas, then Mr. Grandolph, if I'm not mistaken.
Hey guys. Great space so far. I've been meaning to ask Curtis and Gandalf and everybody who's actually here. So, once we find out what kind of shit all these guys been pulling, what kind of liability do the legal team have who have been advising TRCH and MMAT at the time? I mean, those two firms that helped those two guys, I mean, those are two of the top law firms in the country. So why didn't they tell them, hey, we can just pull this, redo it, and I mean, if they're doing a U3 halt, I mean, they still had till the 12th to actually, or till the 14th to kind of stop the process and redo it, right? So do those two law firms have any sort of liability at all?
I honestly don't know that answer. Not a legal professional, so definitely outside my realm of expertise.
I neither am I, but I would guess, if I had to guess, I would guess not, because the law firms, they wouldn't, in theory, they wouldn't know that the U3 halt is going to be issued. They wouldn't. They wouldn't have knowledge of that. So if they did have knowledge of that, then that's a whole different can of worms. But if
No,
they
I
don't
mean,
have
like,
knowledge
let's
of it,
say the U3 halt was issued on the morning of the 9th, right? So per the S1, the MNET can still pull this whole thing till, like, I think the deadline was the 12th or the 14th, I forgot. They can reverse the whole MMTLP spinoff. I believe it was till the 12th, if I'm not mistaken. So they can say, okay, we're actually not going to go through the spinoff, and we'll stop this whole thing. So even though they halted the stock on the 9th, they can just say, okay, FINRA, got you. We'll just stop this and we'll redo this whole thing until you're satisfied with this concern that you have. And I will resubmit the S1, and 2 weeks later we'll redo this.
beats me.
So I mean, Pelicaris and the board could have just said, okay, if that's their game, then fine, we'll just redo it 2 weeks later. So I mean, I guess
Yeah, it's a totally valid question. Totally valid question. We asked that early on, not knowing what was going to happen, and would the company take action to effectively delay the spin out. And maybe there's I think that it's safe to say that you had some conflicting opinions there, but not for me to weigh in on. Like, we can speculate culpability there, but regardless of what could have happened from the company direction, what definitely did happen from a manipulation standpoint is everything that happened that's been really well documented from a corporate action standpoint, but then facilitating the U3 halt, the timing of when it would be executed. And I think now very interesting, instead of just broadly looking at 105 different firms, now looking at with an extra special attention to the 8 firms represented and what their liabilities are, and maybe look at particularly the trading of these firms in those last few days before the halt. It'd be interesting to see what kind of volume they were producing relative to MMTLP.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, thanks for answering this. Thanks.
Thanks, J.K. Dallas. Next up, I believe, is the crotch rocket actuary himself, Gandalf.
Yo, I'm just gonna go straight to the point. Today, someone reminded me of something very important, and kudos to that person. But I had a question for anybody who had the answer. Whatever happened to the uh, petition of Steamroller getting information with the OTC?
I have all the paperwork in front of me, and it's going absolutely nowhere, in case you were wondering.
Do you know if the case is still viable, or was there?
I have, as far as I have researched, it looks as if there's a stay for some reason.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I'm gonna leave.
Oh hell yeah!
Telling you,
Shout out to
I'm telling you,
Gandalf
she's
and Triple
scary.
D's.
Yeah.
But okay, hold on. Was it? Do we know where the? How can I phrase this correctly? Do we know where the pending action came from?
Do you mean where it was filed?
No, I mean, behind the stay. Do we know who initiated it?
It's not listed.
Mm.
That doesn't mean I've
Steamroller.
dug very deep yet either.
It'd have to be steamroller.
Not necessarily. No.
Not necessarily.
Well, without evidence, it would make sense because the other party would want it to go forward, and then it'd get dismissed with no evidence.
Oh man.
There were things said by an attorney that actually alluded to him having a case that had a stay that referenced MMTLP. And while he never said it, that was the only other case outside of Corsani.
Okay.
At the time he made the
Yeah,
statement.
yeah. Okay.
I'll let you know if I find
Yeah,
anything
I
else.
think there's something there.
Probably at Mailman Joey's.
Man, we have some brilliant people in the community. I'm not just talking about Gandalf. People are putting everything together really, really quickly. They're just pointed in the right direction, and they're all putting it together. I just see all these retweets, and someone.
Were we allowed to talk about that committee, or are we not saying
You
that
know
out
what?
loud?
We weren't going to
Yeah.
talk about it, but people just found it out in like all of 10 minutes. So,
It's kind of amazing.
did you find it?
I had a little help, but Uniform Practice Committee.
Uniform Practice Code Committee. What is that?
Go figure. And they have 2 FINRA staff liaisons. I'll give you a guess who they are.
Who are they?
Patty Casamates and Chris Stone.
Wow.
We're
That's
not gonna
crazy.
sleep this week.
Those names fit into that puzzle that we were just looking at. That's crazy. That's crazy. You know
Hey,
what?
Curtis, did you use RSTLNE for that puzzle or no?
I did not. I did not. I actually didn't even do that. I cheated and I gave somebody the letters and I said, I need you to do this. Don't ask questions.
This is a fun game. I like this game.
This game
Okay,
too.
so should we just say fuck it and say like let's start airing some shit out tonight since you guys seem...
Yes.
I think
Yes.
All right, let's
Curtis, you
fuck some shit up tonight. All right,
As
let's
long
do
as it
it.
doesn't ruin anything in the future, we're good.
Hey, you know what?
Curtis, you
Hey,
so
I
much.
see. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. You've done so much for this community. I think it's only fair that
Yep,
you
go ahead.
make some other people take the heat right
Hey,
now.
hey, Mr. Not a Righty. You good? Give me thumbs up if you're good.
Wait, let me go get some scotch first. Hang on.
Yes.
Oh shit! I'm gonna be on a bender on LinkedIn all
All
night.
right. All right, hold on. Before we go deep, because you're everyone's half right but half wrong.
The thumbs up.
All right. You know what? I want to deleverage. I'm sitting here with I don't even want to say it. I just don't feel comfortable with it not out there. So you know what? Let's just get it out there. Everyone's getting half the puzzle together. So let's finish it. Let's finish the puzzle, and then yeah, let's just finish it. So let me call out a post. Let me put this in here because somebody put this together really quickly. I'm just going to share this because somebody got it. Props to Jalen who noticed this immediately. All right. Here's why my concern is with TradeStation. Fuck. Okay. Well, everyone knows TradeStation's Chief Compliance Officer is Nikki Brinkerhoff, right? That name sounds familiar by now, hopefully. She was on the Financial Information Forum. She's heading up the back office committee, talking about Next Bridge S1 subscription rights. This is not a small committee. This is not a random topic. There are two topics that they were covering amongst all the things were T+1 settlement, which is massive. That was done in May. And Next Bridge subscription rights last year, August 14th, 2023. She's heading it up. Think about this from a timeline perspective. Since I didn't give you the link, you all did it on your own. The Uniform Practice Code Committee. And Robin, do you want to read what that committee does since you pulled up the page?
I actually have left the screen. I'll go back unless you have it up already.
I can read it. I'll read it. FINRA's Uniform Practice Code, UPC committee, is composed of a member firm representatives. The committee advises and makes recommendations to FINRA on issues relating to the UPC and over-the-counter, OTC, market trading, processing, and operations. For example, the committee considers issues related to the clearance and settlement of OTC securities transactions. FINRA's rule series on clearly erroneous transactions and UPC corporate actions processing issues.
All right, now stop right there, John. Let me just reiterate the three pieces that he just covered again. The committee considers issues related to the clearance and settlement of OTC securities transactions. That applies here with MMTLP. FINRA's rule series on clearly erroneous transactions. And if you haven't read that rule, it's a fun one. It basically enables FINRA, again, with this UPC committee, to cancel transactions that they deem to be erroneous. Think $2,500 E-Trade transactions processed. Again, processed and relevant here. And then UPC corporate actions processing issues. Again, applicable here. And before they have a chance to go and modify their procedure documents, they've all been documented and archived. So there's a nice handbook on UPC code procedures. Actually goes through halt procedures and what's actually done there. Everyone's going to be doing lots of light reading over the next week, I'm sure, on this.
Nobody's gonna get sleep.
No, no sleeping. But here's the important part. Most important part. Every member on this committee is assigned. They are not elected. This is not, it's an annual reassignment, and it's assigned by the Board of Governors, by the FINRA Board of Governors. And here's why that's imperative for everyone to know. If you look at it right now, and those of you that have found Nikki on there, TradeStation's Chief Compliance Officer, if you take a little journey to the Wayback Machine and you're going back because that committee is not the same members that were present on December 9th, 2022. But luckily, we have the Wayback Machine, so you can go back and look at that committee. And you can see that Nikki was not a member of the UPC committee. So what's interesting is Nikki got assigned starting for the first time June 1st, 2023. Interesting. They went from 8 members down to 4 members, and 3 of the members are still the same. And one of the members, the new one, is Nikki Brinkerhoff, Chief Compliance Officer of TradeStation, which is really rich because 2 months later, she's leading back office committee meetings for the Financial Information Forum for all the other big money players to get them educated on how to handle this obscure, tiny oil and gas exploration company in midst of going private, NextBridge Hydrocarbons. Why would all of the members be so concerned with how to handle S1 subscription rights on NextBridge Hydrocarbons? I don't know, but wouldn't it be interesting if FINRA elected to assign a chief compliance officer to this committee that would be authorized to oversee corporate actions and facilitate halts on trading? It would be pretty rich, right? And then 2 months later, she's going to be the line leader and the subject matter expert. And then, oh, by the way, 3 months after that, her firm's going to raise their hand and say, here, look, we want to help you guys out, retail investors. We're going to raise our hand and we're going to do the right thing. And we're going to let you know, yeah, we can't facilitate your transfer to AST Equinity because we have exceeded our allotment. We've lent out more shares than what exists. Wow, that's rich, right? That's really rich. And then sorry, go ahead, Rob.
It sounds scripted.
It sounds scripted. That's crazy. and then January Financial Information Forum. A firm has had document requests from FINRA and the SEC. We all saw that memo. And then what's playing out now? What's playing out now with TradeStation? So again, and by the way, here's what's really rich. This is really important from a timing standpoint. What's today? Today is June. Now it's June 19th in my time zone, but let's say it's June 18th for majority of the audience on here. All right. FINRA updates those committee assignments on June 1st. And guess who is still reappointed for 2024? Nikki Brinkerhoff, Chief Compliance Officer of TradeStation. So do you think that she was taking one for the team, or do you think that she was acting out of line from the rest of the FINRA members that assigned her to her position for a second consecutive year? I think fucking not. So do you see why I'm saying they're pinned? Do you see why I'm saying there's a conflict of interest that appears to be playing out here? Here's what you're going to see when everyone takes a little journey through the Wayback Machine. And now this is, I'm fully insulated here. You all
Grab it
have the
all.
data. You all have the data. You're going to see member firms. I'm just going to call them out so I can sleep tonight. You're going to see member firms. You're going to see 3 members that are fixations on the member or on the committee member list. Kelly Bell of Hilltop Securities, Christopher Haynes of Edward Jones, and Joseph, I'm guessing you pronounce his name Arasi. It says Robinhood, but he actually worked at Chase.
And TD.
And would you like to share his titles at those companies? Because they are not low man on the totem pole titles.
I'm doing that one from memory, so I can't remember.
It's Chief Risk Officer. Okay. Normally not a lot of turnover in the Chief Risk Officer position. Not something you'd be jumping from company to company. Certainly not from, when you look at that individual, not from Fidelity to TD to Robinhood, and that totally ignores that UBS and Bank of New York Mellon are all on there. So anyway, happens to be a little bit of a mercenary. Spend some time at a little bit of every organization that happens to have a liability. Oh, did we mention that Fidelity is on there? I think that one was leaked last week, wasn't it? Matthew Price of Fidelity, come on down. Fidelity. Wait, that's the broker dealer that couldn't decide on October 6th and 7th, 2021. They were not afraid to trade it at all when it was trading. MMTLP's trading for 10 cents, 20 cents, went up to $1. Crazy. And then what happened? Oh, probably too many shares traded. Got up to $3. They got a little scared. Now you got to trade through the fixed income desk. And then they took away trading entirely. Wow, that's rich. I wonder if Fidelity was aware that a U3 halt was cut. Oh yeah, they have a member on that committee. I forgot. That's part of how this works. Okay. Hilltop Securities. Hilltop Securities. Who's Hilltop Securities? Oh, they're located in Texas. Yeah, formerly known as Southwest Securities. And their counterparty is Charles Schwab. You know, the Charles Schwab. That's interesting. You know, they merged with TD Ameritrade.
Wait,
Wow.
Curtis, we also from Bloomberg, we have Hilltop Securities being the primary pricing contributor on MMTLP.
Wow, that's fucking crazy. Wow, what a
Wow.
coincidence. What a coincidence. Hey, Elf.
Yeah.
Shout out to coincidences.
Too many of them doesn't make them a coincidence.
Anyway, there's the data. It's all out there. Everyone do the resume combing through. You know what? Anybody that wants to reach out to an individual, because I know, like, he said the word Metatron a week and a half ago, and you all went crazy. Like, buying Metatron stock, it's like the worst financial advice in the world.
I
Let's go.
owned that stock before this.
That's a terrible. I mean, to each their own. Not financial advice.
I don't know why I bought it. I bought it last February and I have no idea why. Not like February a year ago, not the one that just passed.
Yeah, you heard somebody say, "Don't say that name," and you're like, "Shit, I need to put this in my portfolio."
I'm pretty sure that's how it happened because I bought a lot of it for next to nothing.
Yep, that's what it's worth. Next to
Well,
nothing.
have we explained to people like the theory about Metatron? Are we allowed, like, not like the crazy, like, can we talk about, you know, the way the price moves and how it kind of seems to be farming money?
Yeah, I did my best while I was driving in the car to just talk about some of the parties at hand, and Elf, there's even more conflicts of interest with parties that are concerning that you need to be aware of if you're not already. We haven't talked
Okay.
about that fully publicly, and I don't want to talk about that one fully publicly yet. But
Okay.
Hey guys, real
Well,
quick. What do you call multiple coincidences? A coding error.
that's a good one.
well, yeah, we can chat about that later, but I was just going to mention that, like, basically with the way that, like, Metatron's price trades, it goes from, like, 0.00000 whatever to, like, 0.003. But, like, the way the pricing is, it only ever peaks at where retail can buy it, and then it will drop back down to a lower price point, and it seems like it's a way that they're just farming money from retail, basically, because it never goes above a certain point.
So there's obviously a lot to go over. A lot. I like over the last week. I mean, now we get to crowdsource all of this, right? Again, ample opportunity was provided over a week to do some stuff with this data privately. There is one of these members that is no longer employed. One of these 2022 members that is no longer employed, and it was a bad breakup. How do I know that? You just look at his LinkedIn. It's a bad breakup. It's like social media drama in the professional sense on LinkedIn. I wonder if he's been talking. I wonder if he's been talking about the other 9 members. I wonder. I don't know. It's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. It would be pretty crazy if that one member that's no longer employed by the firm that they were standing up for, I wonder if that guy talks. It's a guy. You might be able to figure it
Well,
out.
he was assigned male at birth.
It's kind of amazing, you know, blowing whistles and choo-choo trains and all that fun stuff.
This is a weight off my shoulders, I swear.
Curtis is going to sleep for the first time in a month tonight.
Nobody has anything to say because they dropped down
Oh,
when Mike requested.
I got Curtis. Thanks, man, for putting all the little pieces together. I've had little nuggets here and there, and
Holy shit! Hope you can. Thanks for sharing that with everybody, and the community will certainly dig into it more to give you more data. But holy fuck, you put all the pieces together for me. That's for sure. Thanks, man, and Alf and the whole DD team.
Yeah, everything. And you know what? Is he on here? Yeah, he's on here. There's a dude in the audience that we all should be kissing his ass right now for finding it. Nikki, you're the secret sauce that made it pop up. So thank you, Nikki Brinkerhoff. Shout out Chief Compliance Officer of Trade Station. You're the real MVP. And yeah, I think everyone should be combing through all of these individuals' resumes. And now you have a whole great laundry list of 10 individuals that questions should be pointed at, of how it would even be fucking possible that they would not be aware of the U3 halt, because it's not. By procedure, it's not even possible. So anyway, this is super rich. The same people that are responsible for weighing in on what they're going to try to claim was a deficient corporate action now, it's still the same fucking people. Congratulations. There's no wiggling out of this. And man, it would just be crazy if one of these members decided to come forward and roll over on the other 9. Wouldn't that just be rich? So anyway, I think more than one person has this data now. So everyone can stop asking for it. You can do your own due diligence, and we have them by the fucking balls. Do you understand now?
And if you don't have that data, rip every website you can, get every screenshot that you can, compile them in our DMs. Everybody gets the screenshots, and nobody's going to be unhappy.
To quote Biggie, and if you don't know, now you know.
I've been 10 minutes into this now, putting the piece. Nikki's fingerprints is on everything. Holy smoke. Wow.
So do you see why I'm saying that? Look, I can't make an actual, it's nothing but an assertion, right? But my logic looking at this scenario is, after the halt, 6 months after the halt, she's assigned a position. She had previously held ran for two separate regional positions at FINRA. And you can find that because when you run, your candidacy is put forth, like you have to put forth like a paragraph, and those PDFs are still archived on FINRA's website. Like, how rich is that? How rich is the answers here are all on FINRA's website. Oh, it's so rich. But she is assigned this position 6 months after, and TradeStation comes forward after she gets this position, right? Very prominent position of authority within FINRA's committees. And months later, they're raising their hand with a message that is clearly derived from risk compliance. It's pretty rich.
And this is before she spoke at the 5th committee.
Correct. And again, just to restate it, there's 2 ways that I viewed it. We were speculating, right? It could be first the squeal gets the deal, right? Could be one firm stepping out of line against all the others to try to lessen the damages to their particular firm. But if you think that was the case, do you think that they would assign her the same position again a year later while they're under active litigation before June 1st? No fucking way. Yeah, TradeStation is TradeStation is they're the fall guy. So I love it. I love it that we were able to time this really well. And really, if
Good.
anyone is pushing for our best interest, this data should only make their argument that much more compelling. So it'd be really hard to settle at a really low ceiling. Right?
Assuming that was their goal, yes.
You mean the trade station lawsuit?
Mm-hmm.
What?
But is that what we're talking about right now? Because I thought that was like, I've been MIA, so I don't know if we're allowed to talk about that now.
Welcome to the conversation.
I find it very interesting to see where Nikki's based. I may have some friends I may have some constituents, not constituents, but congressmen that may help out here.
Just wanted to say, guys, that copies of this space will be made available for one low payment of $69.99.
Free 99.
I think it was gonna be. I don't know. I don't know who it is. Y'all, you two pick.
I'm gonna go really quick because I actually have to go. Curtis. You know what? Now it makes all the sense in the world why you were so fired up the way you are, because I'm looking through and I'm like,
You looking at the people? You
I'm
looking
looking
at
at-
the resumes? You
I'm
looking at the
yep.
Uh-huh.
Like it's just it.
Yep.
So now yeah, I'm not gonna be able to sleep.
I don't get excited like that for nothing, right? Like I hope that's what I was saying. I hope you guys just, well, there, it's all aired out. You just saved me all the work. That, you know what? This goes into captain of the thorough DD, rare DD, who's probably going to put together the best video that I would never have the time, effort, or energy to put in. So profile all those. You better be doing, brother, you better be doing all of the LinkedIn resume capture before they all go away. And man, I have a lot. These people are really, really bold with who they give and receive recommendations from. It's almost like they're trying to leave the breadcrumb trail. It's rich. It's so rich. Their connections are all out there. Man, they're even connected to some attorneys. It's crazy. You know that? Wow. Crazy.
Hey, Bishop.
So, Elf, Theo, Gandalf, I see you guys here as well, and I got a question for the three of you. Curtis, not to undermine you or anything, this has been fantastic, but Gandalf in particular, I'm curious to hear if you think that, given the revelations that the community has had, if you think TradeStation baited out the lawsuit.
Well, I'll refrain from commenting on that.
He's Middle Eastern. I know what that laugh means.
I think his emojis speak for themselves. Hey, Drew. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Jonna was first. Jonna, she left and had to drop down and come back or something. Jonna was next.
No, my hand wasn't up. I was putting up 100 at some point.
Oh, so you were just hanging out.
Yeah, it's way past my bedtime. I've been up since 5:30.
Well, you're here now. Go ahead. She doesn't have anything to say. I guess that goes
No,
back.
I don't.
Oh, her hands on top of her head, just like,
Okay, Drew, go ahead.
There's 500 people in a space at 9:22 p.m. Pacific time, 12:22 Eastern. What in the blue hell, man, no pun intended with Kurtis here, what in the blue hell did I miss?
information.
Is it going to cost me $69.99 to find out what I missed?
Yes.
Damn it.
I'll send you a discount code.
Nice.
350.
Use
$3.99.
#MMTLT for the 10% discount.
Someone want to will someone be so kind to give me like a 30-second cursory overview?
We've been here for 4 hours. There's no way to fit that in 30 seconds.
Curtis, what the hell have you done?
You dropped
Here, I'll give you here.
Hashtag
I'm
cool
gonna send you a message, and you can just shortcut right to the chase. I'll give you the URL.
Instead of the cursory, it's a courtesy.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I'm just gonna ask Curtis. Curtis, should we stop calling Congress?
No.
Thank you.
No.
That's all I need to know.
That, in fact, with the, this is where I can't talk about this piece of it, right? So, what has the data been doing for the last week? It's not been sitting idly. There's important information that's come out of this information being shared, which is why I was asking everyone to share feedback on who's clamming up and who's willing to come to the table and participate, right? Because when names get dropped, when it's irrefutable, and I've not done the presentation, I just did verbally here that everyone followed along with and did fantastic. I was intending to do it in a thread, in a live stream, but it's more important that this is out there timely. Fuck waiting till Friday. They didn't give us
Wait, what's
any grace.
supposed to happen on Friday?
I was gonna release it on Friday if they're not gonna. There's some stuff happening. There's some stuff, interesting communications happening within Congress. I'll say it that way. So, this is a whole different rabbit hole of leverage because you'll see the names. These are the 10 individuals that are responsible for facilitating the U3 halt.
Okay, can I just ask you a question?
Please do.
Because I got a phone call today that I was not able to answer from one of the reps that I got a letter from. Are any of the reps in California that gave us a letter on your hit list?
What? Oh, these are not members of Congress.
Oh.
These 10 members. Yeah, sorry. I shouldn't have. Yeah, these are, when I say committee members, they're on a FINRA committee assigned. Part of their responsibilities would be issuing UPC advisory notices, including
Okay,
U3
yeah.
halts.
Okay, so
Not members of Congress.
well, somebody called me today and they didn't leave a message or anything, but I know the number because it's stored in my phone. And I'm wondering if that has anything to do with this.
Maybe, because this is making the rounds, but yeah. There were no they might be interested in having conversations.
I can't see the post in the nest, Curtis. I think whoever it is has me blocked. Oh well. Can we have a screenshot? I can't.
Which one is it?
The most recent one that you put in the nest.
Oh, let me see who that is.
Is it Jalen?
Curtis,
I have no idea.
I just sent you a DM. I'm wondering if the name that I just sent you has anything to do with any of this.
Not that I know of.
Okay, good. All right. So then they're probably see, now I have to be very careful though about what I say because you never know who, you know what I mean? You never know who is in touch with who.
Yep.
God damn it.
Yep. There's a lot going on. So anyway, the names are all released. Everyone's going to do their own profiling on this, but here's the point. And Drew, I think you could come to your own conclusion on this. I think we all knew it. There was obviously coordination behind the scenes the last week of trading to short the stock into the ground with MMTLP, and FINRA has continuously asserted that no member firms were aware of the halt, which is patently false because a UPC U3 halt is issued with consideration by the members on that committee. It's a manual halt. which is why I tried to get Dave, instead of me airing this out, I tried to get Dave Lauer, who knows it very well and wanted to explain people's misunderstanding about limit up and limit down halts. So he wanted to build a thread about that. And I
I
said,
remember that. That was about a week and a half ago.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I said, would you like to explain how UPC halts work? And he didn't. So he said I was misdirecting his question.
Would
And I
you like me
wasn't.
to put you guys in touch on a Telegram call?
We're in touch.
Oh, there you go.
So anyway,
And
yeah.
is he squirming like he tends to do when he's backed into a corner?
I mean, there's a lot of squirming people right now. One of them's probably not Mr. Special Ops on that list, who's yeah, former JAG, and yeah. There's some pretty intimidating people on this list.
Hey guys, can I ask one quick question?
Sure.
You just did.
Hey guys, great space, Jack, all of you guys, Curtis, it's fantastic, guys. Thank you so much for everything you do. Curtis, you two things. One, you mentioned very, very, you know, quickly. Yes, it also shows associations with attorneys as well. Yeah, yeah. That's what you just said about 5 minutes ago. What are you
Did I
alluding
say that?
to? Yeah, you did.
Did I say that?
Yes, you
I don't
did.
know. If you I heard on LinkedIn you could see associated connections, especially if you have mutual connections with both of those parties.
Yeah, but to be okay, to kind of play devil's advocate a little bit, I have a lot of connections on LinkedIn that I've never spoken to, like
Yep.
not once.
Yeah, so it would probably need to be corroborated, and maybe if there's more to it, active feedback, stuff like that that could be looked into. I don't know. Hey, the names are out there. Everyone knows what to look at, the organizations that they represent. The only inaccuracy on that list, if you're depending on which date you're looking at, is there's one member that says Robin Hood, but at the time, if you're cross-referencing his resume, was actually at Chase. And why is that important? Well, obviously, Robin Hood, Chase, two different organizations, but Chase is the only approved alternative display facility member at the time the MMTLP was trading. There's a lot more to that. Chris Stone of FINRA, who is one of the two members of FINRA on this UPC committee, is also happens to be the single authorizer for unlisted trading privileges access for FINRA, which is really rich. Seems to be a conflict of interest. FINRA actually discloses that it's not a conflict of interest. Man, it's so crazy how all this can just easily be. See you laughing, Gandalf. I see you. It's all the data's out there. Now all we got to do is leverage the conversations. It's a different conversation when it's John Berta's story, when it's our experience watching what's happening, watching the short volume that happened the last week of trading. It's different when it's a story without any names and organizations. But when you're talking about the people, the individuals that were involved, that obviously coordinated to make this decision, and the timing, and the same exact Drew, just so you know, that same exact individuals are responsible for processing corporate actions as deficient. So we're not talking about
Whoa.
two different groups. We've known this all along, what should have happened with the settlement and clearance, but it's the same exact committee that would be responsible for it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Also, sorry.
Go ahead.
Well,
I was just going to
just one
mention,
last
so
thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to mention, so you mentioned Christopher B. Stone and the UTP unlisted trading privileges. We also have multiple documents where Christopher B. Stone's signature is being put on the documents, and most of these documents are for increasing the trading halt privileges to more individuals. And the signature for him is being done by Mr. James Dombeck, who is a lawyer whose work involves complex trading and market issues, such as the defense of trading-related SEC and SRO investigations. So he defends against regulators, but he is stamping and signing all of the documents for Christopher Stone on the unlisted trading privileges filings.
Shout out Adobe Acrobat and electronic signatures, baby.
I'll post up on it and then everyone can see.
Hey, Curtis,
RGB
you
squad is the
also
best.
Curtis, just one other thing. I went back and I recorded after I got off the plane. I re-listened to Junk Space and everything that you said this morning, and you mentioned that there are people who are giving us lip service in Congress. Now that all of this is out, can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
I don't want to. I
Okay,
know
no
why you're
problem.
asking, and it's a
I
totally fair question. It's a totally fair question. But here's what. Here's the deal. Here's the incentive of releasing this now. Because everyone should have the ability of changing their mind and changing their stance. And so this by itself is just critical data. This, with everything that we have, with Patricia Casamatas in listing form, Chris Stone literally describing to a T in video format and SEC transcript their process for avoiding U3 halts and processing corporate actions as deficient, those two being the FINRA members, right? Patricia is on the FOIA responses. She's named by Sam Dratty. They're pinned. And by the way, whoever decided to actually release that FOIA was the first true whistleblower that we had, clearly, because all of these names coincidentally getting included within all the email responses and the partial redaction that happened to happen. I mean, all of that, and the emails that did get selected and the acknowledgement before the first corporate action was ever processed. Again, this has been pointed out 900 different ways, but they are pinned. The same committee. Now we have the member firms that had a hand in the decision and the coordination and the collusion. I don't, if this, again, I don't want to be hyperbolic, but if this isn't enough to bring the parties to the table, to get us the answers that we deserve, honestly, what will be? What will be? Because now you have specific member firms, their counterparties, and who they clear through or for, that are all tied in these names, and they're not small. You have the two largest allocations represented. The two largest. Hilltop, I think everybody needs to Elf, you need to say what you said like 3 more times. And then
One more for the
people need to
people.
hear it a 4th and 5th and 6th time. Hilltop, and that is a fixed member. Kelly Bell of Hilltop Securities, you go on the Wayback Machine, she's a fixed member of this committee. And so is, by the way, Christopher Haynes and Joseph. So Arasi. So go back through, look at it, say it like 3 more times.
So are we allowed to share more stuff then and like post more things? Can I
Let's
open
just
the Hilltop
go.
folder?
Let's just go.
All right.
We're pulling this recording later, so let it all fly.
Hey, John.
Hey, so Curtis, it makes sense. I was working today and driving, and I was reading about, I think it was a company called KNS, and they had developed a new algorithm. And when they went live, it accidentally had bought in like 150 different securities in it, and they bought, and the algorithm was programmed to buy at a higher price and then turn around and sell it. But what happened was it messed up and bought too many above a 30% gain, some at 150. And SEC, they tried to cover, but SEC, they tried to stop the trade and cancel them, like you were talking about, which is what the FINRA and the SEC have the ability to do, is to null out trades that they deem are too excessive, or however the word is, whatever it is. So the SEC said, no, we're not going to let you erase all of them because some of them were below 30%. So now that it has happened before, that woman with TradeStation and the SEC know all they had to do was skip all the lower GTC, good to cancel. All they had to do is skip all the lower ones and pick all the higher ones, and then they could present it to SEC, and SEC would say, no, cancel them all. All of that was rigged as well.
I'm going to jump in real quick because I heard a couple questions come out just about sharing information. I'm sure everybody sort of has a plan, or those in the know do. I just was wondering if we should save some nuggets for tomorrow or Friday, or even if those in the know that I've been reaching out to want to go on some of the YouTube shows and debut some information there. Just food for thought.
I put it out there for personal protection. I don't. When you look at a couple of the individuals that are on this list, you'll know why.
Let it fly.
So, yeah,
I trust your judgment.
people that could make you disappear in a heartbeat. So, yeah, it's out there. People know where to look. I think everyone's got the URLs by now. So, archive them. They've been archived and backed up and circulated through multiple fronts, like already. So, I'm not concerned, but we all have the data now. The whole point is not to, oh yay, look what we found. We need to leverage this into having the conversations with, again, it doesn't matter if you've been successful or not. This is very impactful data that corroborates right with the FOIA, right with the events that led up, right with all of the research that we already had uncovered and presented around how FINRA Rule 6490 should have been applied, how FINRA acted outside of their bounds when they did, and the spoiler alert is FINRA is they're going to change their approach in how they're framing up, and they're going to say that they did process the corporate action and it was deficient, and that they sent back a deficiency notice. They're going to change the story. 18 months later, they're going to change the story. Um, uh, Even if they did, guess what? It's the same committee. That's the rich part. And by the way, if it was deficient, then it wouldn't be published on the 6th and on the 8th. You don't publish it to the daily list. You don't execute the corporate action if it's deficient. The whole point of marking it deficient is to not fucking execute the corporate action, because it's going to cause an issue. I have no idea what they're going to try to pull. Like, it's so nonsensical, it's not even funny. So anyway, that's why I'm saying we're in a position of incredible strength and leverage. Now let's bring this. Let's not say fuck so much in the congressional meetings. Let's bring the people to the table. Let's educate them with exactly who the parties are. By the way, it's helpful that some of these happen to be sitting in the backyard of some of the frontline, proponents of MMTLP on the congressional front. It's helpful to know that no, not only did TradeStation acknowledge that they're over, but FINRA, after doing so, FINRA ensured that their chief compliance officer that helped allow and facilitate that was assigned in this position of authority. 2 consecutive years. She just got renewed 2 weeks ago. That's pretty rich. I don't know how you could say that FINRA is acting still to this day for retail investors' best interest. See how this argument gets framed up pretty easily? That's why I'm excited.
It's funny, Curtis. I told Jack in a conversation we had earlier privately today, I said, Curtis has been acting awfully peculiar. He agreed. Makes sense now. Dub fan, I think you were next, and then Steph, and then Oracles.
Yeah, thanks, Robin. Thanks, Jack. Great space. Jack, you lasted as long not hosting as the lawyer did leaving. It's quite extraordinary. But I'm glad you opened the space. You weren't expecting this. No, fair play to you, Jack. Kurtis, a quick question. Can you just go over the timing of the lawsuit and the significance of that at TradeStation? I know Gandalf kind of alluded to it during the week, but just, and had any significance to cancellation of the hearing into TradeStation? Just do a recap of that again, please. Thank you.
Yeah. I know what you're alluding to. I don't want to touch it with the 10-foot pole, but it is interesting, the timing that didn't have to necessarily be executed the way that it was. I don't know. It wouldn't matter who was involved. It wouldn't matter. I'm worried from the organization's stance and the chief compliance officer, and obviously their awareness and coordination behind the scenes. I am very concerned that TradeStation tries to set a low ceiling on settlement. Just that's it. And this is additional knowledge and potentially leverage that FINRA has empowered an organization's compliance officer, nonetheless. They've empowered them to be, again, in a position of great authority within this committee. One that is not even an elected position, it's assigned.
So do we foresee the lawsuit being withdrawn if the majority of the community is very concerned about this being used to set a low ceiling? Is this something that's being discussed?
I've not discussed it, but I mean, that's why I think everyone should pay attention to it, because I have no legal expertise whatsoever. I don't even like watching Law and Order.
Let me bounce this off of you. Okay.
Yeah.
With this information in tow, if NextBridge were to attempt to pursue some type of reconciliation via some kind of market, it sounds to me like the information that you're bringing forward would provide all the more reason for the regulatory establishment to allow that reconciliation to take place in accordance with all of the proper practices and procedures that a free market is based on. Do you agree or disagree with that? With this information in tow, NextBridge, it only bolsters NextBridge's position in forcing a reconciliation should they choose to do that.
Some form of reconciliation, but you would see why So we tried that experiment for the spin out, right? And what we were all anticipating happening on December 9th and 12th, and knowing the members that they had in place and the what appears to be obvious collusion that took place in the corporate action processing and then eventual U3 halt and then subsequent deletion. Now you have an even more stacked deck where you have three of the same members, and the only fourth changed member is the one that represents the chief compliance officer for the one firm that's offsides. Now, we're acknowledging that, we're paying attention to that, but does that make me feel any warmer or fuzzier about a trading scenario? Obviously not. So, but does this apply additional leverage for the company to bring the parties to the table for some form of reconciliation? Of course. That's why Greg McCabe has this data, by the way. That's why Greg has this data. So, he would be one of those authorities that I was referencing that could maximize the leverage for this. So, yeah, I mean, I think it gives them more power, more leverage, and obviously points out additional conflicts of interest. And there's more. There's far more than what just meets the eye when you're looking at this from the background surface, because of some of these firms. Elf already alluded to part of it, but there's
Now,
far more.
now I want to put you in the hot seat. If you had to put a time frame to this,
I do
what do you
not do
think?
time frames. You know that. You know I don't do time frames. There's no way to tell.
6 months? A
I
year?
have no idea.
3 months? 9 months?
I have no idea. I would
If you
think
had to lean one way, which way would you lean?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Gangsta lean.
I really don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know. I would think that some of the stuff that I'm not saying, I'm saying way more than I intended to say through the night, right? But way more. Was going to release threads on these people and the process and what the committee does and what should have happened, and this is what actually happened. We just talked it out, right? We'll revisit this however many times over the next week. But I would think with one of these parties stepping out of line, disagreeing with their organization, and maybe getting a little chirpy, one of these 10 members, I would think that the process could be accelerated rapidly. But I don't know. There's a lot of things that have to play out. So I don't know. But everything that every single one of us does is in trying to influence the timeline and the success of our resolution. So obviously, the incentive of releasing this sooner than later is to not buy another unnecessary day. So sooner, I guess, but what is sooner? I don't know. Drew, I'd answer that question if I had any sense or feel. I don't.
Do you think that the information that you've brought forward changes NextBridge's plan if they had one?
Yes, if it brings particular parties to the table that have previously not been willing to participate.
And if it doesn't?
I don't know how it would not, but I don't know. That's a question for Greg.
Do you feel that you are in any, I don't want to say the word danger, but do you feel that you may be a party of interest to any legal types in the form of attempting to subpoena you to extract the totality of the information that you've learned?
Well, I just shared what I knew live on a space with 500 people listening. So anyone is free to use this information to their own free will. And I did acknowledge that earlier when you were not here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to subpoena me, I think that they're going to end up not wanting the data I have on them.
And
What we're
they're
talking
gonna
about.
they're
Hey,
gonna not
help!
want to bully people into giving that information or veiled threat information either.
I mean, somebody has been running around threatening to, reach down into his legal briefs and show everybody his subpoenas. So,
You guys want to see my subpoenas?
yeah. So that's, that I thought that was a valid question.
Yeah. I understand wanting the information. I just having other people with more power and authority have that information first, that are in the same position or a closer aligned position with the rest of investors seems to be more logical to me. That's why we chose to go that route. So not turning it over to other people that may have more exclusive intents with the data. So now the data belongs to everybody.
Yeah.
So
Hey, Steph, did you mean to put your hand down?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was supposed to be in bed like an hour ago. I just
Say what
can't.
you're here now. Say what you were thinking.
Now for John, if Bowen is still up here, what something that was alluded to earlier, it's Rule 11.890, and it's just.
Is it me or is this space super glitchy?
Do you
It's
not
me.
hear
It's
Steph?
me. I'm glitchy.
No, I don't.
Steph's talking.
No, listen. Thank you for the mic.
No worries.
Have a good night, all. Have a good night.
Always, bro.
Thank you.
Glitch better have my money.
Glitch better have my money.
And Curtis, this has been awesome, and I wanted to just say thanks to Theo and to Elf and to Gandalf and to Curtis. You guys are kind of amazing. All of the work that you guys do does not go unnoticed, obviously.
100%. And the conviction and the effort, it just fuels me personally to go even further, because no fucking brick wall is gonna stop me. Brick by brick or smash through it, we're coming for you.
Fuck yeah.
JT and Matt too. Sorry, didn't mean to leave those guys out. They just are never up there. So everybody who's been doing the work knows who I'm talking about. So thank you guys for everything.
Art, sorry, come back up after. We had hands.
I don't know if it was OSU or Doug Van.
I'll jump in quick. It's just a question for Alf, actually. Alf, I found some information at the weekend. I released it, and it was regarding a particular lawyer, and very significant allegations and concerns about it. Now, unfortunately, it was dismissed by other members of the community as not really relevant or important. But from what you've discovered, and I don't want you to go into it, would you have the similar concerns about a particular attorney? Would you be concerned from what you've dug into? Because you alluded to it there.
I am.
Well, we don't want to say would you hire them? Let's put it that way.
I'm collecting a significant amount of information and putting it together in a neat little document.
Yeah, make
We
sure
can
this
leave
one
it at
doesn't get deleted.
Okay.
Backups, come on, backups.
No, that's good enough. It's just it's just that, yeah, particular people kind of came out and justified what was going on, justifying the unjustifiable, and I just wanted to point that out. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm very much against Yeah, I'm not a fan of Basil. I'm not a fan of people who don't act professionally when they're representing their profession, and I'm not a fan of people who use bullying as a tactic to try and get clients. I'm not a fan of people who try to find and target vulnerable people to get clients, and I'm not a fan of people who seem to have a habit of approaching different OTC companies and then getting their friends on the boards. And then after their friends get on the boards, they take a bunch of toxic debt. And then all of a sudden, this lawyer, Basil, suddenly is being hired to represent these companies against the toxic debt. And basically the C-suite wins, this lawyer wins a ton, but who loses? The shareholders every single time. And it's just a funny pattern that, you know, could just be out of, oh, I'm being told to chill for a minute. So yeah, no, I'm I'm with you, Dub fan.
Thanks,
I'll put
Elf.
my
My work
muzzle
here is
back on.
done. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good night.
And it's like a paid for pattern. Like, who walks away from a lawsuit with irrefutable DD on the day, like a week after filing? And yeah, I'm talking about BBIG. Bashill. Bullshit.
But
But
fact.
whatever, there you go. You have to look at this from a bigger picture. He came out of nowhere. Like, every time somebody comes out of nowhere, what do they turn out to be? You know the answer.
Damn
I
straight.
just, I'm just amazed that people are so blind or choose to be so blind. It's willfully blind, and it just disturbed me quite greatly. But listen, thanks all for that, and I'm going to drop down. Thank you.
Thanks, Stefan. OSU and then go Oregon Day.
So I would love to hear Curtis's thoughts on what was just discussed.
I think Curtis purposely stayed quiet.
Yeah, I'm not getting in the middle of your Basil drama. I already got drug into enough of it, and I didn't even do anything to initiate it.
It's
So
not my drama. I'm not the one that just talked.
It's
I
Bashill.
know. Look,
Fucking subpoena me too. Whatever.
Again, we talked about this on Saturday, Drew, publicly on a space. I personally do not respond well to threats or manipulation attempts, right? If somebody approaches me and asks for the data, I'll have a conversation. People have been asking for a week, right? It just needed its chance to run its course. And honestly, it's a risk. In even 24 people's hands, it's a risk. So I didn't want to sit on it in the first place and put it to work. How much leverage are we going to get out of it? But to the first approach, and 3 people reached out before there was any private attempts. But the first approach is just incredibly rude. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it. I do not want to feed any of that drama. I know you guys have it teed up and you have plenty of ammo to go, and that's a testament to, you know, the lack of professional decorum that's existed. So there's merit to the complaints that exist, but I'm not feeding into it. It's just I will say again and again and again and again, my concern about all of this, having looked at this for a bit, and with TradeStation for a bit, my concern is knowing what you know, everything with all the TradeStation circumstances, and you know Nikki's role, their chief compliance officer, you know her role as subject matter expert for all these other firms that are also collaborating behind the scenes, and then in the forefront within FINRA, her assignment within the UPC. She's literally responsible for the same things. So on both sides, back channel and front and highly visible. And as of the chief compliance officer from the first firm that raised their hand, with almost no other counterparty risk, there's self-clearing. It is the poster child for how can I isolate an incident and set the lowest ceiling possible. It's it's just what it looks like to me as an objective person looking at the scenario. So that's my concern. It wouldn't matter if it's Mark or if it's Joe Schmo off the street, it wouldn't matter who it is that's representing. It wouldn't matter who the investor was that was representing. It doesn't matter. All those variables could be interchangeable, and I would still have that same exact concern. So, and we should be concerned. We should all take vested interest in that because that's what it appears to be. And I would love to be proven wrong on that, but that's the concern. That's also why Richard pulled back his arbitration challenge, was because of that same concern and not getting fucked by literally arbitration where they're going to try to set a low settlement value as a precedent, right? $2.90. Like, that's the risk. So you have to look out for those potential obstacles, call them out ahead of time. And I do think that's part of the motivation. It's part of how this data came to light, that Nikki Brinkerhoff, Chief Compliance Officer of TradeStation, it appears that they're making a business decision that's supported by other members. And if they didn't support it, she wouldn't be receiving her assigned, not elected, assigned position re-upped for another year in this now even more limited committee. She wouldn't be presenting to other FIF members as subject matter expert.
So
There's
how do
a lot
you? So how, knowing what you know, you've just stated that you think Nextbridge would have a tough time trying to reconcile this via some kind of market-based activity. How, in your opinion, would be the best manner to proceed for Nextbridge to reconcile this?
That's all contingent on getting the share count, right? So you asked the question on Saturday, and I know what you're teeing up. Is it possible to without it? Yes, obviously, it's possible to without it. I mean, Greg's empowered to do what Greg's empowered to do. Would it be intelligent, in my opinion, to try to reconcile without knowing the most important variable, the number of shares that are in existence? No. Obviously that's empowerment and leverage.
But if you had blockchain as a backstop and tokenization of the shares to ensure that there cannot be an overage upon the completion of that reconciliation period, if blockchain is the backstop, how do you avoid that? How do you avoid that backstop?
Who knows? Who know? We're talking about literally the if we're talking about any form of active trading, where again we just read out the UPC committee's responsibilities. So if there's any issues pertaining to settlement or clearance, we're talking about the same exact parties that would ultimately be halting it. Yet again, that could kick the can. Yet again, that's the part that for me, it's just hard to see McCabe playing into that scenario again. I know it's an option. I know it's a feasible option. It just doesn't seem like the best one.
But if the ultimate end goal is tokenization, then a U3 halt would interfere with the actions that the company is electing to take. And they can't interfere, they can only oversee.
Well, precedent isn't great there.
No, I agree 100%, but there was no blockchain backstop the last time around.
Yeah, I mean, we could speculate and play the hypothetical games on paths. I think honestly, my take all along is, instead of trying to focus on the piece that we honestly don't really control or influence, you acknowledge that as well, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Greg's going to be the one pulling the strings. So the piece that we can control and we can influence is getting people or incentivizing parties to come to the table by the congressional outreach, by leveraging the judicial front. I think we can get the parties to the table and get the information that we're due, and then that then and only then I think you make determination on what the best path is. But until that point, I don't know. We could be speculating here for a long period of time about what but I understand the potential that you're discussing, and I'm like 90% on the same page with what the mechanics could be, but there's still relative uncertainty there, and there's still steps that would have to take place that we're just assuming are, smooth. And I don't think anyone should be anticipating anything to do with this being smooth because it hasn't been to this point.
Bishop, I think, wanted to help with that.
Well, so I guess my question is for Drew. Drew, have you seen Rare DD's post today and the implications that it has around blockchain?
Andrew's glitching. He'll be back. In the meantime, OSU, quickly jump in.
I've got a question. I think it's going to be more for Elf, the DD team, or Kurtis himself, considering he's an OG. I know it's slightly tangential considering the circumstances of today, although some of the new dots that we've connected today, or I guess last week, just kind of brought something to my attention. And that would be, being an OG person, which I am not. You've kind of connected a bit of the incentive, some motive, and kind of place these dots together in regards to what we've had with December 9th. My question would be, if you're one of the OG guys like Kurtis, what do you think the incentive and motive was going back to Torchlight itself and the Torchlight to the MMAT merger that occurred there? If we're looking big picture going back out, I think it would be speculation, but I'm just curious if anything else has kind of come up since you've learned about this last week.
Well, I actually, funny enough, today was doing a bunch of work on finding all of the ETFs and funds and everybody that was basically holding Torchlight at the time of the merger. And funny enough, Vanguard has been popping up quite a bit. But the more interesting thing is when I started going back to 2018 and 2016 for the same funds, they were holding Torchlight and they had this cute little asterisk beside it that stated that they were actually loaning out those positions. So, for example, Vanguard has been shorting Torchlight for years. I've got them at least going back to 2016. So that's for 8 years. 8 years. So I think what's been going on with this has been going on for a very long time. And I'm actively looking into the OG stuff. I am an OG, so.
Yeah, I remember you said you were looking at some of that, and it would just kind of struck my curiosity hearing it today, especially considering that most of the names on that list, especially just off the top of my head, Chris Stone, I mean, they go back to the NASD days. So, I mean, you're going back to Bernie Madoff days. You're not even dealing with FINRA at that point. They've been there for quite a long time, and they would have been there, well before Torchlight even encountered any issues.
Yeah, well, that's why I've always been very, very vocal from the beginning, basically, that I do think that, it's all of these tickers in one. And as I'm going through these ETFs and whatnot, I'm like, okay, so they're holding MMTLP at a shady point in time. And then I'll be like, okay, what about GME? What about AMC? What about BBY? Who else are these funds holding? Are there certain ETFs that are holding all of these funds that are being shorted? I'm very much trying to investigate and figure out more information on that. And I promise as soon as I get some really solid stuff, I will let you know.
Gotcha. Thank you. I just wanted to kind of check in on that.
Awesome. Thanks. We're going to go back to Drew and Bishop. We're hashing something out.
Yeah, so Drew, can you hear me?
Yes.
So, have you seen Rare DD's posts in regards to James Angel today by chance?
No.
Okay, so I'll give you the cliff notes then. Long story short, GTS got OSTKO as a digitalized token that Trade Zero is only allowed to trade. They got it trading. So when you say that blockchain is a backstop, I mean, what kind of backstop can that be when there's
That's
cases going
different.
on around that right now?
No, that's different because the overstock dividend was issued in the form of a, a token. Our dividend was issued in the form of shares of a non-tradable company that would then be tokenized, and you cannot tokenize it. It wouldn't be trading as a token because of the custodian that I imagine NextBridge would be using to hold and issue those blockchain tokens. So
I think we're saying,
the term,
to jump in, I think we're saying the same thing because Trade Zero ATS is the custodian for Overstock's token, and GTS and Ari got it trading outside of Trade Zero.
you can't, but it's, again, but the mechanics of it are different. Blockchain, okay, the problem with the term blockchain is you're using it as all encompassing to be uniform. It's not. It's not a homogeneous process from one case to another. There are different blockchains that exist, different ledgers that exist, and different processes by which tokenization occurs. In this case, the tokenization, the token isn't being issued. I don't know how to explain this. So in this case, the token isn't being issued directly from the company as a dividend. The token is being exchanged for a share in the company.
The underlying
So
value of the token wouldn't make a difference though. When you're going on the blockchain, you're tokenizing something. If you're going to be able to trade the tokens, you're going to be able to trade the tokens.
yes, but when you're doing a one-for-one exchange for the token, if there is not enough tokens to go around, that's your backstop. In other words, if there's a million token, hold on. Let me get this out. You may understand where I'm going, but I want the listener to understand where I'm going. So let's say that the shares, that the legally authorized shares is 1 million. Okay. There would be 1 million tokens that would be ready for a one-to-one exchange. So that there can't be any excess. Otherwise, that tokenization cannot occur. So there must be a reconciliation prior. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Now, I understand. I see where you're coming from, but the issue is that if a reconciliation would not necessarily have to happen prior to that, because a market maker, GTS in this instance, according to the post earlier today, got created a market for it basically outside of T0 and got their hands on additional tokens or created additional tokens somehow. I don't know. I
You
haven't looked
can't.
at. I know. I haven't looked that far into it, but
Nope. That's not how it works. That's not how it works.
that's
They wouldn't have been able to do that.
Were we done with that portion of the show?
Yeah, I have to look into it a little bit more.
Okay. All right. Curtis,
Go and then
I don't know
go.
who next. Art, her, or go. I think it might be Art, then go.
No, go and then art.
Got it backwards.
It's go.
Go, go.
She's first.
Go, go, go.
Thank you. Thanks for the great space and all the input and conversations. I'm sorry to dial it back a little bit because I was in and out and had to delete the app and all this crap. Is it the case that given all of this information, someone who knows Anna well will be approaching her to discuss this information with her such that she might make a different decision regarding proceeding with the trade station lawsuit? And I'm sorry if it's already been asked and answered.
Anybody want to take that one? I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. I think Anna's a smart lady and she will make her own decision. And I am pretty sure if she hasn't heard this, she will hear it.
Thank you.
I can't speak to what anybody else has or hasn't told her, but I'm sure she's doing her homework. Shut up, Drew. Art Hurt, nice to see you here.
Hi. How's it going?
Hi.
Juan called me earlier today, and I told him I was just gonna show up on Spaces and be. Oh, that's my roommate.
Hi.
What,
Hi, guys.
what up, Eric?
Hi, guys. Sorry.
How's it going?
What's up, Juan? Was Juan still there?
I don't even think Juan's in the space. No, I was just talking to Juan earlier, and I'm like, I'm just gonna show up in the Spaces and just be a jackass.
Well, you can't. I'm going to cut you off. We're not doing the jackass thing yet. It's not late night space yet.
Okay, well, I see Jack is hosting a space and he's got like 400 listeners.
Jack's
So,
asleep.
is Jack asleep?
This is the Vin and Robin show. Jack's asleep.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, Jack is asleep and he's got like 400 listeners. So, like, much props to Jack.
Is Jack off the space?
No. We can't say that.
No, I asked if he was off the space. Like, I was just asking.
No, he is off
Robin.
the space.
Okay.
Robin.
Drew. Right, hang on.
What does that tell you guys? Is he off to space?
He woke up. He heard his name.
Jack.
Yeah, my roommate got me muted. Damn it.
Go ahead, guys.
Hey guys.
But Jack, did you wake
All right,
up?
hang on.
All right.
Hey guys, I didn't want to interrupt the fun, but I'm tapping out for the night. But it's been fun. I had no intention of releasing this tonight, but thank you because you guys are all rock stars and you just take a little bit of nugget and then it takes 5 minutes to find all the information because this community is freaking awesome at researching and fact finding. So anyway, I know people will do the right thing with the data. If there's one ask out of this, it's to please continue, and hopefully this motivates you if you weren't already motivated to pick up the phone and leverage those congressional relationships because this data is extremely damning. You can bring up the trade station appointee with the chief compliance officer, Nikki Brinkerhoff, who is now part of this committee that would be issuing further U3 halts, that would be processing additional corporate actions as deficient. So that's a concern for any form of reconciliation. And then obviously, all the members that are responsible for facilitating the U3 halt and also the processing of the corporate action to begin with. All of that is directly relevant. This was the major missing puzzle piece. I think we also have, and I'll
Jack,
work
you
with.
got to mute your mic, Jack.
I'm sorry.
I'll work with Elf and Theo and Gandalf and the whole crew. But with what we already have on Chris Stone and those dual privileges that he has, I know you're all thinking what I'm thinking, but I think we also have some answers with how market maker exemption was used to initiate trading as well. So we have all the necessary puzzle pieces here. We don't have to have all the answers. We shouldn't have been responsible for generating all the answers that we've come to this point. But the point is, we should be advocating for getting those answers through congressional power. I know a lot of people have given up. Yes, we have gatekeepers. This is pretty damning and hard to overcome from an evidence standpoint. And when you talk about it and now being able to point out the broker dealers, the largest of which are represented on this list, one of which is the only one that has now taxation issues for how they handled taxes on MMTLP. Like, do we need to go through the list? We have them by the balls. So just leverage this in your conversations. If you're not comfortable articulating all of that, we have a space of 400 people. There's, 3-4 dozen people that can do a fantastic job doing that. So anyway, please, please, please continue the congressional outreach. Do not be hostile with them. Continue to leverage positive relationships. Let's give them a chance to do the right thing. And there's plenty more news to come on top of this, but this was the most important data to get out there and not waste any time. So thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you for showing up, Curtis. Thank you for the information. You've been awesome. We were not expecting this space, so thank you, thank you, thank you.
Me neither. But thank you. Love you all. Have a good night.
So, Jack, for the purposes of preserving this, do we want to end it and start a new space? Since you're going to request the recording for this as soon as you end it.
Well, I'll consider it if you guys pay me enough.
Mm-hmm. You get paid.
Free city.
We'll make all this in.
We'll see.
Close the space.
All right, I'm gonna close this and start another one.